Right. We're live? I'm live. Excellent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, peers and pirouettes. I don't know why I said that. Welcome to Cocktail Hour. I'm once again on my own for the probably first couple of minutes of this live stream. It's totally fine. Well, we'll endure, hopefully. Unless, did I just get something from someone? No? Why am I getting... Oh, you know what happened? Let me just put Do Not Disturb on for the Discord, because you can hear it for whatever reason. Sorry, it's fine. Yes. Are we taking bets for how long it takes for Polly to show up? Because if we are, I'm going to say at least 8 minutes. You guys can deliberate amongst yourself, but I want to try something out. You guys can hear me all right? Let's just make sure first off, because I'm using Voicemeter to essentially route my audio so that we can experiment with desktop audio to see if that's going to work. Because if it's going to work, then I might be able to incorporate reacting to videos with Polly on here at certain points. If you guys were to send us some little tidbits of nuggets of golden opportunities. So I'm going to test out this desktop audio nonsense with a little bit of original Weebo music. I think some of you might have heard this at some point. Some of you might not have heard this at some point. It's totally fine. But this is something that I've kind of been working on and off for the last like year and a half or whatever. We're going to boot it up, see if it works. You can enjoy some music before we actually get into the meat and potatoes and the heart of this nonsense. And then hopefully Polly will have showed his face up. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Nothing? Nothing at all? God damn it. Okay, hang on. Let me try this one other thing. See, I was hoping it would work, but if it doesn't work, then that's totally fun too. Does it not work at all? Yeah, no, it doesn't work. God damn. You do hear me, but you don't hear the actual song. Like, that was gibberish, by the way. Gibberish for God damn it. All right. Well, it was worth a shot. It's fine. At least Voicemeter can run my audio. For whatever reason, it won't run the actual audio of the desktop through Voicemeter and output it to you guys. Unless maybe it's just that I'm not routing it through the right speakers. Here, let's try this. How was it? Oh no, I just closed the thing. Unless, no, you know what? I'll figure this out later when it's not that we're live. That's totally fine. So, without further ado, I don't know why that was sticking. Let's pop open the alcohol because it's not a cocktail hour unless you have a cocktail and or some sort of beverage. Yes, I said beverage. Deal with it. We're going to pour myself a tall glass of wine all the way to the, what is that, 3/4 line? Yeah, that works. Finish off this bottle from last week. It's the same thing from last week. It's Barefoot Riesling from California. I haven't had an opportunity to drink it since then because I've had other opportunities to drink many other things. Like, for instance, Friday evening, ladies and gentlemen, I had a hootin' of a time. I went over to Bailick's girlfriend's house, and we spent the evening eating homemade Godfather recipe spaghetti and enjoying live PD because that's what you do on a Friday evening. And then we went to a bar, to a pool hall specifically, and we had more alcohol there, and we enjoyed some pool. I do believe that Bailick kicked my butt, but we didn't get to the part of the game where anyone actually won, we just kind of called it quitsies, and then he left. And I continued to party on, soldier on with his girlfriend and her friend, and it was a good time. It was a very good time. I believe I had half a bottle of Shutter wine. It was like a sweet red. I can't remember exactly the brand, but it's like Shutter something wine. And then we moved on to, yeah, I believe I had a crisp apple ale. And then after that, I had a rum and coke, and then a shot of rum. And then I cashed out my tab. And then we were supposed to go to another bar, but someone got a little bit too drunk, a little too quickly, and fell and skinned her knee. And then we had to go back, but it was fine because, you know, in reality, it's not a big deal. You know, I don't have to drink the night away. I get to save some money. I was already pretty good and well drunk at that point, so, you know, I'm not complaining. Before we continue, I would just like to address this little tidbit of super chats with my fancy transitioner. Thank you, the BTK, for the $2 over on the super chat. Sup, weebs, your fave trap has survived surgery. Drink. Oh, well, I'll have one on you. Most excellent, yes. Congratulations on surviving your surgery, I guess. Because, sorry, that's a little bit morbid, I guess. You don't congratulate people on their surgery. You wish them luck on it before it happens, right? Oh, God, I'm so socially retarded. It's not even funny. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not supposed to use that. Slow with the uptake on the social issues. There we go. Did you guys see my last video? It was all about soft language. It was a revival of George Carlin's 30 Years Hence hot take on the softening of the human language, at least in America. I actually quite enjoyed making that video, I'll say. It was quite a good time because I was basically just ranting. I didn't have to do a lot of research for that video, so it didn't take me as long to script it as it usually does, which I don't mind scripting things. I just don't have the time to do all of the research that is necessary, that I have, like, that is up to my standard. So that was more of a personal rant / dive into the world of soft language and what have you. I don't know. Congratulations on surviving seems normal, if followed by wishing a swift recovery. Yes, I hope that you recover swiftly. I hope it's not too much of a hassle. I remember when I had my wisdom teeth taken out. Oh, God, that was a bitch. That was a lot worse than when they drilled a hole into my stomach, like 3 holes into my stomach to get my appendix out of there because it was inflamed and I was going to die. But the wisdom tooth thing, that wasn't as big of an issue in terms of, like, life-threateningness, but it did take a lot longer to recover. I still have the holes in the back of, like, my jaw from where they removed my bottom wisdom tooth. Unfortunately, there's, like, it's not a fun time because every once in a while you get, like, the odd meat slice that's stuck in there. You have to go and, like, dig it out or rinse it out with a fancy syringe that they give you, or you have to, like, pick it out with whatever you can find because it's uncomfortable. It's like having food stuck in your teeth but stuck in your cheek. Ugh, it's disgusting. Michael Hatfield, thank you for acknowledging me. I hope life is treating you well. It is treating me well. I'm having a great time. My thesis is pretty much written. I just have to issue a few corrections and write the intro and the outro and the abstract, and then I'm good. I'm set. I don't have to worry about it until the week I get back from Thanksgiving, or the week after I get back from Thanksgiving, because that's when it's due, the graded portion. Excuse me. Daniel Foreman, but you pledged not to say that word. There was a sticker and everything. He's talking about the word retard, and it is true. They made us take a pledge in elementary school not to say the R word, retard, or retarded, or whatever. I'm not kidding about that. The whole story where I went home to play the violin with my dad, and that was totally played up. But I'm not kidding about the pledge thing. That was a thing. And I do recall thinking to myself, am I supposed to not use that word? Because it's in my music. Like, that's the name. It's a retardando. It means to slow down. In music, there's an actual word. It's Italian, I believe. Because most things in music are Italian for, I don't even know what reason. I think it's just because that's the way that we've learned things. I'm not 100% sure, actually, why musical vernacular is in Italian. You know, that's a good question. I should probably look that up. Oh, guess what? Guess what? I get to use the transition-y thing again. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Lion Patriot, for the $3 over on Streamlabs. I haven't slept in 24 hours. Yawn. Sir. Go to sleep. What are you doing up? Why 24 hours? Let me tell you, when you've been up for that long, there is like a certain amount of exhaustion. There's a level of exhaustion that you achieve where breathing actually is difficult to do. On top of everything else that you're doing, which is keeping your eyelids open and sitting upright, presumably, or walking or whatever. It's an effort to breathe when you're that tired. And so go to bed. Gosh. It's okay. This stream will be here when you get back, presuming nothing horrible happens to my channel. Please don't let anything horrible happen to my channel. Who else is in the chat? Irate Prostate, Duck Dog. Duck Dog says the oral surgeon didn't do it right. Then he should have oversewn the gums. Well, I wouldn't know. I didn't go to dentistry school, so I haven't the foggiest what's right or wrong. But I have a dentist appointment in less than 3 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. I have a dentist appointment. So my regular dentist will take a gander down the gums to see what's up, see if everything's healing up all right. Hopefully, she gives me the all clear. It's not a super big deal, but in the event that it was botched, then I have a malpractice suit. I guess. I don't know. Ugh. Dr. No, have you seen The Room? I've not seen the whole thing all the way through, but I've seen bits and pieces, and I know exactly what happens at every juncture. I know all of the criticisms. I think I'm in love with that movie. I just haven't seen it yet. Does that make sense? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Sup, everybody, first time at the stream. Well, everyone, make him feel welcome. The multitude of question marks is here for the first time. We have to put on a heckin' of a show, don't we? We are officially past 10 minutes. Therefore, no, I don't want to restart my Windows computer. I'm going to pick a time, and I'm going to pick it for like the 8th time in a row. Yep, there we go. It's scheduled to restart Wednesday at some point. Actually, it's probably going to restart anyway before then because I shut my computer off when it is that I go home. I do take some of my video equipment. Like I'll take one of my cameras, probably that one, the one that's, you know, the transition-y one, and then the microphone as well. Although I have been thinking about investing in a second Yeti mic just so I don't have to worry about that. And also in case this one dies, I can just have the other one in case. The otter must be napping. Let's hope. Because it shouldn't take that long to get your coffee ready, right, Polydub? It's fine. Not a big deal. I'm not completely smashed. Oh. That's, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm getting there. I have this whole thing of wine. You don't want to get into the meat and potatoes too quickly. It's fine. Kaiser wants me to adopt them. I'm not old enough to be a mom yet, despite what historical Weebo evidence will dictate. I am definitely not prepared to be a mom. I'm not ready for that responsibility. I kind of want to have time to be myself. Does that make sense? You know, I'd like to get into who it is Weebo Jones is after college, after I don't have to be a student anymore, after I don't have to worry about, you know, anything. I'd like to get a job and be me, you know? Probably uses a French press. It could take a while. It shouldn't take that long because you can wait for the French press to press and still hop on, I would think, right? Anyway, it's fine. Do I like beer? I like some beer. I've come to find that I'm a big fan of ciders, obviously, because I'm a fruity bitch, apparently. But I also have found out that I like pale ales. Other than that, I haven't really given it much adventure. Presumably, actually, you know, this is a funny story. not funny, but it's interesting because for my 21st birthday, I went to a winery because I wanted to explore the wineness after I'd gone to Greece. And for my 22nd birthday, I've decided that I want to take everyone to a brewery to kind of explore that aspect of alcohol. Maybe for my 23rd birthday, we'll go to a whiskey distillery or whatever, and just keep going on down the line of alcohol beverages that you can until I've exhausted all my options and I have to travel over to Poland for vodka or whatever, you know. Polly is just delaying. Where is that otter? I swear. It gets later and later every time. It's fine. I will carry on this show single-handedly. Oh my god! Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Polydub.
Hello.
Couldn't you have been 6 earlier? Just like 6? I would have been right then.
I'm sitting here in the background of the studio waiting to be brought in.
I just saw you pop up.
Oh,
2 seconds ago.
You were looking, so that lie won't work?
No, it won't. I've been looking at this thing for the whole time, waiting for you to show up. You're not gonna catch me.
Have you ever been rushing to try and get somewhere, and like the universe conspires against you to like make sure every red light and every slow driver and every snowy tract of road is in front of you on the way?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I just got home. I just rushed in. I'm here.
Polly, do we need to push back cocktail hour?
No, not really. It's just, hey, it's hard out here for a time traveling bartending otter.
You're right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't judge.
Not all of us have a color-coded schedule that keeps our lives so well organized.
You could. It's not that hard. It's really simple. I could teach you. Do you want me to teach you? I could give you a crash course in color-coded scheduling. You use Google Calendar because I could crash course you in that too as well.
Do you do that through Google Calendar?
Yeah, you can color code everything.
No,
set it to recurring stuff, and then you can set like an end date as to when this thing is. It's really useful for classes and scheduling stuff. You can do alerts for half an hour prior to the event happening, and then you can use the colors of everything. It's really nice.
Pinkala says, try being a private courier. I'm trying to think what that means. I'm pretty sure coming from Pinkala, that's some kind of side jab, but okay. Oh, Evolved Potato got the notification for Noir Bar that I did some 16 hours ago, 20 minutes ago.
Oh, boy. Well, watch that after this is done, please. Yeah.
That was a good time, Weebs. You should have been there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was busy crying over Anne of Green Gables. Polly, I want you to know.
Wait a minute. You were crying over Anne of Green Gables at 4 o'clock in the morning?
No, actually, I had just finished sobbing over it because I fell asleep watching Anne with an E on Netflix. And, dude, the first 2 episodes, or at least the first episode, oh my God, my achy breaky heart, it was, because, okay, spoiler alert. Holly, have you ever, do you know the plot of how Anne of Green Gables starts?
I do.
Okay, yeah, so she's not supposed to be there, and they play it up to the nth degree because she's like the tragic orphan figure who doesn't want to go back to living a life in squalor at the, servitude of a whole bunch of abusive people, whatever. And you see the flashbacks, and flashbacks are heartbreaking. But the disappointment that you get from Anne after she realizes that she's come a long way to be disappointed is just like, oh, this poor child, my heart. And they played it up, and I was just, and even though I knew how it ended, because this is an hour and a half that they are drawing this whole segment out. Oh, because it's a series, and each episode is supposedly an hour or something.
Sure, right. Yeah, spoilers. For those who don't know, they take her out back and shoot her.
No.
No, wait, sorry. That was Old Yeller. Never mind.
Gingers are not rabid dogs. Polly. God damn it. Polly.
I got confused.
How do you confuse them? Okay, so Polly, what are we drinking tonight? Because I already talked about my basic ass bitch white wine.
That's fine.
Same thing as last week too.
Is it goon bag wine, as the Aussies call it?
Goon bag? What?
Oh, we didn't talk about that here.
No.
I've talked about it on a few different. I drink. Look, anyway.
I drink. That explains everything.
You know box wine.
Yes.
How it's got that kind of foil bag insert inside the cardboard box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's Aussies call that like the goon bag, where they just
yeah, it's like a traveler bag of wine.
Yes, and apparently like it's the less affable of those in their society that tend to drink the inexpensive bag of aforementioned wine and become goons. So it's the goon bag.
$5. Oh, that's hair. Ugh.
Oh, barefoot.
It was $5.
What kind is it? What?
Barefoot Riesling.
Oh, Riesling again. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I had it left over from last week because I drank other things this weekend.
Right.
Not wine. I like part alcohol, other wine. It was gifted to me by other people. So of course, when you get free alcohol, you drink that in lieu of the stuff that you bought. So it's really nice when people buy you stuff in college.
Oh, I
take advantage of that.
Especially when it's free liquor. That's just like
free liquor, free food, free laundry detergent. Man, I'm gonna take advantage of that.
Yeah. I hear people talk dumb shit and say stuff like, I wouldn't even take a free bottle of Jack Daniels, and it's okay. Then give it to me. Jack Daniels.
I will take it.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't even like Jack Daniels, but I will take it.
Yeah, I mean everything tastes the same after you have a chaser after a shot. I mean, come on, It's not that bad.
Weebo as a college student, a big box of wine just makes sense. It stays fresh longer because no oxygen gets in as you drink. Okay, funny story, right? And that's
a true point. Yeah,
it is true. But like in college, specifically in freshman year, I'd hear all these stories about people passing around bags of wine at frat parties.
Sure.
Because that's not the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because that's the easiest way to get roofied is to just drink the passed around bag of wine that everyone else has their grubby little mitts on.
That sounds like a really bad recipe for a party. You're gonna pass around a bag of roofied wine?
Well, no. It wasn't roofied. It just could have been. Or you wouldn't know that it had been. But it's a bag of wine that anyone can get their grubby little mitts on. You just drink it and then pass it on. Drink it, pass it on. It could be roofied. That's my point. It's very easy for that thing to get roofied because you don't know where it's been, you don't know where it's going. And also the mono. Yeah, definitely the mono, especially a bunch of college students making out with each other who definitely at some point going to contract some sort of disease. And you don't even have to stick your dick in it. It just happens because you've been passing around a bag of wine. It was disgusting. This is why I don't go to frat parties.
Wow.
I go to a huge ass party school. And I didn't know this until I got on campus, by the way, and Balick told me that. And I refused to go to any of the frat parties.
Because of all the rape?
No, actually, it's not as big a problem on campuses as you'd assume, coming from the feminists. It's not my scene, We talked about what is my scene versus what's not my scene, and this is definitely not my scene because it's the, fist in the air, bump grind, sweat raining down from the ceiling in the form of actual rain because you've created an entire water cycle in one room in the basement of a fraternity house.
Yeah, I know. I'm in a pretty raucous party when I look up and I see clouds forming next to the ceiling. It's
disgusting. I cannot tolerate this. Just before we continue on, transition. Thank you to BTK for the $2 over in the super chats. I'd even take the free bottle pre-jugged gimme. And then Sean McMillan for $2 says, know about you from the Ralph retort. Are you still cool? Well, I'd like to think so. You see this hat? I don't wear this just because I like it. It's actually, like a fashion statement. It's part of my repertoire, as it were. Also, I drink more regularly now than I did. So maybe that makes me a little bit cooler. The content's a lot cooler, I think, because I put a lot more effort into it.
No,
I make my face up and
drinking makes everyone cooler.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Exactly. If you have a glass in your hand, you automatically get like 10 plus cool points. It's an antiquated system, obviously, because now it's about thumbs up and snaps.
What?
It's the college life. This is what I've adjusted to because we use snaps now. Remember?
Do you actually still have that going on your campus?
Actually, not so much anymore. It's funny. Where did Polly go? What the fuck? Polly, where'd you go?
What?
You just kind of like stopped being in the stream.
Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I was trying to do something else and I fucked up.
You dumb. Well, okay, so it's funny because sophomore year was when it really amped up. The social justice-y nonsense on college campus is when it really ramped up because we had a whole bunch of riots on campus, a whole bunch of instances the FBI came on campus, and biased incidents is a whole deal. It's kind of like what's going on at Syracuse University right now, except maybe not as internationally known about.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
but
that's no fault of their own, honestly. It's
Ollie.
What?
Where's the otter? Where'd the otter go?
It's all Weebo all the time around these parts.
Oh my god. Anyway, so that aside, it's gotten less. So actually, what's interesting is we had this ramp up of biased incidences where people were writing in graffiti on the bathroom stalls, like a whole bunch of racist slurs and whatnot, and threats and all this jazz.
Sure.
Swastikas in the park in the form of, and like rocks in the form of a swastika in the park or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Balik told me that a professor told him that they thought that it might have been one of the minority students who was a major in philosophy, because one of the minority students had written a paper about social justice activism, right, and revolution stuff, and they had discussed in their paper, their thesis, how sometimes fake incidences, like bias incidences and racial incidences, can be justified for the cause of revolution. And it's funny because after that student graduated, all of the biased incidences just stopped. Like, we had one every other week. Rapid fire. It was just nonstop, constant. And then the next school year, silence. Nada. Zip. And we haven't heard anything since. So either, yeah, that person graduated, or there was no issue. The person who was doing it or whatever. You know, we don't have that much of a racial issue because it's that one single person that has graduated, and either they did it for attention or they did it for attention.
Or they did it for a different kind of attention.
Yeah, exactly. Just, I'm inclined to believe that they were all hoaxes because they immediately stopped. And it was not a big deal. But for a time there, I genuinely thought that there was going to be like a formal riot on campus with like burning buildings and protests and whatever, because there was a large contingent of students who were activist types who were storming press conferences with our president, who were forcing and keeping people and blocking them from their classrooms because they might have been associated with a racial incident that, involved blackface. It was really interesting because it wasn't actually blackface. She was wearing purple glitter on her face for a party, and there was a picture of it, and people just blew it out of proportion. And if you've ever seen someone wearing glitter, it's super clear, but it's not like that different. It's not going to look that different from their skin tone, except like
glittery.
She's just glittery. So I don't know how they would even equate that with blackface. Anyway, it was ridiculous, and then it just stopped. And so it's very interesting to see all of these things happen on college campuses. And I thought that we were going to go the way of Evergreen State for a while there, but other than a slight dip in admissions and our president stepping down after this year, there's not been a lot, and there's not been a lot of change either. It's funny because actually our student body president quit halfway through the semester. the position entirely. She cited that she entered into the position thinking that it was going to be about revolution and, installing change in the school. But she had come to find out that it was a lot more about bureaucracy and administration than it was about making like absolute change within the system. And I'm just like, well, what did you expect when you signed up to be the student body president? That it wouldn't be administrative tasks and nonsense? So yeah, she quit, and it was the funniest email that I think I've ever received from someone in the school. Me and Balik were mocking it when we got it, actually, because it was, oh my god. But yeah, the revolution movement has kind of died on campus.
So the revolution didn't come? Is that what you're saying, or it was completely successful?
It came and it went and nothing happened.
Oh.
It was a big of nothing. It's like a.
Oh wow, that's through no
really
fault of your own. That's an exhausting story, Weebo. Jesus.
It was a lot of fun. I have a ton more, actually.
I mean,
not with the same subject. I just have a lot of stories.
I don't know when the biggest incidents that you can name are incidents of that kind. That yeah, they happen to my campus, and it's like, oh, I saw this hurtful thing, and it's like, what, you went on Twitter? No, it was written on a wall, and it's
in the bathroom.
Whatever. You're letting graffiti get to you like that? Like, do you have anything substantive to complain about? That is substantive. You're trying to say there's no such thing as oh God, it's exhausting some days.
Like, I've been in some janky ass bathrooms before, and that is definitely not the worst thing that I've seen on the walls installed. Let me tell you. And that was, I'm talking about high school bathroom stalls too. Did you know that there have been when I was in high school, and actually specifically middle school, there were incidences where kids were smearing their feces on the walls. This was the guys, by the way, so shame on you guys for this nonsense. Fecal matter all over the walls.
Fecal matter, I say.
Wet paper towel stuffed in the bathrooms. Like, idiots gonna be idiots, all right? It's not a society-wide problem. It's actually more of a parental issue. But, oh my God. Yes, we had riots on the school because of graffiti in the bathroom. Someone decided to construct a swastika out of rocks in the nature park.
Oh, yeah, well, that's great.
It'd be like that. Weebo face. Yep, yep, I see
it. I love that picture so much.
Couldn't you have, like, centered me a little bit more?
Well, okay.
Oh my gosh, the pillow configuration is not the same. This is, oof, that's gonna annoy me. I don't like that.
You know. So what did you want to be the theme for this eventide?
This eventide?
Yeah.
Well, I have a lot to complain about. Well, actually, I don't have a lot to complain about. I have one other thing that I really want to complain about. Holly, and I want to hear your take on it. You ever been sabotaged in an academic setting?
Have I ever been sabotaged?
Yeah, by another student specifically. Maybe a professor, I'll take that too, but like another student specifically has tried to sabotage you. Or in any professional setting, someone who is supposed to be your peer.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I guess.
Like intentionally.
It depends on what you mean. Like sabotage you, like destroyed your laptop with your like final paper on it, or do you mean like said something mean to you during a Q&A?
No, a little bit more towards the destroying laptop side of things than like the saying mean things to you. Like intentionally went out of their way to, or intentionally did this thing that would have resulted in you getting marked down for a grade or something like that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let me tell you about what happened on Friday. I'm super salty about it, and I'm still salty about it, even having told it like 3 times already. My dad was super salty about it too, but that's just because we have the same personality when it comes to these things. There are 2 things in this world that I will not tolerate being dicked with: my money and my education. Do not dick with those 2 things. I take them very seriously.
Other than that, likes a good dicking.
Okay, so for the last like 2 weeks, we've been working on this data mining project. That's the final project for the class. And I'm in a group of 3 with a guy and a girl. And we met up last Sunday to kind of go over things and get things compiled to see what our strategy was going to be going forwards with the code. And so we had to have, for this Friday's checkpoint at 8 in the morning, 40 attributes pre-processed to run this prediction model that was supposed to tell us essentially predicted housing prices for the testing set. Follow me? So we had to have at least 40 of the attributes pre-processed and ready to run through this algorithm. And then we also had to have a Word document written up about what it was we've been doing thus far with our code. And so we were pushing and pulling code back and forth throughout the week, right? And we kind of left it until like Thursday night to kind of stew in what it is we'd already done, because we'd already had like 30 of the attributes finished. So we only had 10 more that we had to do and what have you. And so Thursday evening comes around and I'm working on the code while I'm at work at the speech tutoring center, because no one comes in to visit me, especially not this close to finals. And I'm working on the code and I get 40 attributes compiled or pre-processed. Right. And I push it back over to them and I say, do you guys want to meet so we can talk about the rest of this for the evening or whatever? They're like, yeah, sure. We have something at 6:30. I get off work at 6. I have like half an hour to eat or whatever before I have to be at sectional, so I didn't get a chance to meet up with them. And so they met up after they were done with their thing at 6:30. And I went to sectionals, and then went to my RA meeting because the house had a meeting called about it. I'll talk about that in a minute, actually. And so I went to both of those meetings, and at like 9:30 in the evening, I texted them, and I was like, so how's it going? How's the code looking? And they pushed the code back at me. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh, they've made like improvements. They're like 40-something attributes that they pre-processed. So I incorporate what they've added into my code, get a few more running, and then I, at the end of it, have 48% or 48 of the attributes pre-processed, ready to run through the prediction model. And the score that we're getting was like 78% average, which is a good score for where it is that we're at. So the girl, we still have the Word document to fill out. So I'm like, yeah, we got to do this. And the girl says, yeah, I'll do the Word document. Not a big deal. And I'm like, all right, cool. Here's what it is that I've just done. And I push her my version of the code after I'd taken their code and put it in with mine, just so that we were all on the same page, right? All on the same page. And I go to bed because I have work in the morning at 8. And I think everything's good because, it should be. I pushed my version of the code with all 3 of our names on it to the website that our professor collects info on. And then I'm like, you just do the doc and then we'll be all set. Code setting's fine. Not a big deal. Go to bed, go to work, wake up, go to work. No, wait, go to bed. Go to bed, wake up, go to work. And I'm at work for the next 5 hours. And while I'm at work, I get an email from my professor telling me, hey, so Weebo sent in a project with code with all 3 of your names on it. This girl sent in project with only 2 of your names on it. So how am I supposed to grade this? Excluding my name, by the way. So how am I supposed to grade this? There seems to be some sort of lack of communication or whatever. So she had submitted the Word document and her version of the code without my name on it, whereas I had submitted my version of the code with all 3 of our names on it that we'd all worked on. And I was super confused because part of that is like that checkpoint was a graded checkpoint. We had to have that in. We had to have all that done. Anyway, so I go into operating systems, and this girl is in my class in operating systems, and I'm asking her, so what's up? Like, what happened? Did you just forget to put my name on there? And she's like, so given that your code was so much more different from mine and this other guy's code that we came up with, I just figured that I wouldn't put your name on it when I went in to turn it in. And yeah. And, she didn't tell me about it before I went to bed and woke up and it was due. She did not tell me that she wasn't going to put my name on it. She just didn't. And so I didn't have anything affiliated with my code that was the Word document that said, here's what we're doing. And I was livid. like absolutely just sitting there stewing in my own anger while it is that I'm trying to get through this other project in operating systems. And she's just sitting there for the entire hour, and I'm just like, this bitch. That it read to me like sabotage. Like she had just totally just nope. I was a little bit salty. Did she use your data mined info? I'm pretty sure she did, because she looked at the code after I had pushed it to her last week, because I had been the only one really working through it that I remember, because I'd set up a Google Doc full of all the attributes, affiliated them with their data type, so nominal, ratio, ordinal, all that jazz. And then I got started working on the code, pushed it to them, and then we, just kind of left it until Thursday evening. So I don't know what happened, but it reads to me like sabotage. Polly, what do you think?
Normally, I would say, yeah, it reads like sabotage. It does.
Yeah.
See, that's not good.
No.
This is why I have this running theory. Don't do collaborative work projects with women. Just saying.
Hey, I was a pretty good partner.
Well, is
this not a collaborative work project?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, let me put it this way: when you get together in some kind of like group work where like this kind of thing is going to be happening, where you do your part, you do your part, you do your part. I found that the people that just aren't going to do anything, like just the completely lazy bastards, and they're very upfront about it. Those are guys, tend to be guys that are just going to do nothing and kind of want their name included because, well, I was part of the group. And it's like, yeah, but you did nothing. They're more obvious. Every time that I've had it go awry in a sort of sneaky roundabout way, it's been a woman. Now, I don't know what that means. It could be a sample size error. It's a low end study. I don't know. But yeah, when it's like, well, okay, I'm working on my stuff, but I've got a lot of other things to do. So why don't, when you guys get done, just send all your work to me and I'll add mine to it and I'll submit it with all of our names on it. And then you see what they submitted and didn't add anything to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a kind of tricky roundabout way of getting that done. Or they will get together with one person and act like, oh, well, I got together with Janie, and so all of the work that she's submitting, that's our work. And it's like you'll talk to Janie and say, so you're doing work for both of them? What? I've never even met with her. Like it's always a more conniving, roundabout, backwards ass way.
Mm-hmm.
When a guy's a lazy bastard, he'll just obviously be that.
Yeah. I can deal with the social loafer. This is my first time ever being, undermined by a peer in that way, so blatantly. And it was kind of jarring. It's a learning experience, certainly, but like, that bitch dicked with my grade, or would have dicked with my grade had I not damage controlled like a motherfucker to my professor. Because I went in after my thesis meeting immediately after the data mining class, and I was like, all right, professor, this is what happened. What can be done about this? I'm a little bit frazzled at the moment, not gonna lie, and I'm a little bit peeved. I'm seriously considering just not being a part of this group. And he gave me that option, and I'm gonna take it because I don't want to be a part of a group where this bitch is gonna undermine me and sabotage me and possibly get me with a lower grade for the final project, which is a fucking hunk of a grade. I'm not taking that chance.
No,
anyway,
I hear you.
I got the checkpoint points, which is fine. I'm not concerned about that. It's just going up from here. I will do this project by myself. And I don't want anything to do with this bitch.
It's funny when I think back over the things that left me the most salty. It wasn't somebody undermining me, a work project thing or attempting to dip a grade, where it got sorted out in the end. You know what I mean? It's like, now I know about you. You attempted to pull some bullshit. It didn't work out for you. Go fuck yourself. And now I know what kind of snake you are. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll be a little bit possibly more cautious in the future and different things like that. So, you're mad at the time, but it ends working out. The things that hang with me, Or is when somebody rips you off,
Yeah.
steals your work, passes it off of their own, and then gets away with it. That's the stuff that drives me fucking crazy. And that's happened. I'm still salty about certain incidents.
That's happened to you?
Yeah.
See, like, I've never actually had anyone steal my work.
I have.
How did that happen?
It's like you took my work, my methodology, you just changed it around slightly and then handed it in as your own. And then I was having a conversation with the professor, and I said, this one student, and it was the professor that he had submitted that work to. It was on a completely separate subject. That professor and I just ended up happened to be walking in the same building that was on the far side of campus. So we're walking for like 20 minutes together. And that was actually the only time I think that's ever happened. So it was a rare incident. And somewhere in the middle of this 10-minute walk, I said, so, let's say a student, blah, 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 blah. And he goes in this thing, he goes, as a member of your cohort, this person? I said, yeah, they're in the same year that I am in the master's program I was in. He says, let it go. Yeah. And I was, and I said, well, don't you think that, I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's a little infuriating. I said, there's hours and hours of, I don't know how much fucking structured work going on there that was just, the entire methodology for that study was ripped off by this guy. And he's pretty blatant that he did it. Like, he's like, well, I just use your tips and tricks. That was his phrase, your tips and tricks. and he said, if it's a member of your cohort, it's not worth bringing up a problem over. If that person's into academic misconduct and academic misrepresentation, they'll eventually get themselves burned. And I'm sitting there thinking, all right, like, like, you're the professor, you're the teacher he submitted it to. Dude. Yeah, but I was like, all right, you tell me to let it go. Yeah,
that's kind of what my professor told me. He's just like, I don't really know how to solve this problem other than have you guys sort it out or get you involved in a separate group or maybe have a discussion with all of you, but you do need to talk about it, yada yada. And I'm just like, okay, so but like disciplinarily wise, it seems like super underhanded. Plus she's using code that didn't even she attribute to me. Unless, because I don't see her code. I don't know how much of it that she borrowed from me. He can see it. Does he have an idea? I don't know. But yeah, I'm over it. I'll get over it probably. But in the moment, I was livid.
I'll never get over it. Never.
No, I'm gonna send out a really cheeky email about, communication and the values of being open and honest with your partners, and
Are you really?
How I can no longer trust that my partners are not going to be super communicative and honest with me about certain issues, and they won't be detrimental to my grades. So I'm going my own way, and good luck to you both. Hold
on. What do you think, Chad? Is that a little passive aggressive?
Do you want me to confront this bitch?
Well, I didn't say that you should. I was merely asking Chat to be involved. I'm trying to engage them, Weebs.
Oh, that's fair. Should I? That's fair. They are part of it.
I don't know if you should forcibly confront. I do think that I don't even know what that means, because it can mean something different in each situation. Like,
well,
if you tell a guy to forcibly confront someone, it means draping them up by their collars and being like, "Yo, bitch." But I definitely don't think you should do that.
Yeah, I don't think that I should confront them in such a dramatic way as I wish to, but I do think that it should be addressed, because I'm not going to be a part of the group anyway, but I feel like she should know exactly why I'm not going to be a part of the group. I want her to know that it's her fault, that she is the reason why I'm leaving. It's not because of the other kid. It's not because, I work better on my own. It's simply because she's a dishonest little snake, and I want her to know that that's what I think about her. Before we continue on,
why don't you go tell her that then?
Thank you, the Harry Channel, for the $5. This chick is not a Karen. She's a Lucy, as in the Lucy who's always pulling the football away from the Charlie Brown. Ooh, I like that analogy. No, she's not a Karen. I have a tendency to go full Karen when I need to, because there are instances when you do need to go full Karen. But, of course, Karens get a bad rap because Karens do it all too often, and probably with a level of entitlement that is definitely not due them. But there is a time and place to be a Karen. Okay, they just get a bad rap. And also, again, thank you to the BTK for the $2 over on the super chats. WHGOW, Wigho, Weeb's going her own way. Yeah, Weebo is going her own way, basically. But Weebo's not bitter, right? No, I'm not bitter, Pink Hollow. I'm super not bitter. No, I'm super bitter. I told my dad this story, and he was super peeved as well. But I told Balik this story, and he's just like, let it go. It's not like you had anything that came of it. You got the grade that you were supposed to. You got it full points. And I'm just like, yeah, but it's the principle of the thing. Like that snake. God damn. I'm so salty about it.
I can tell.
I don't like getting screwed over. Like I had the same reaction when Toasted Network tried to, super chat me and then pull it back, like rapid fire, and then report me to PayPal for not delivering on my promised revenue or whatever. And I was like, you don't dick with a person's money. And I called him on that, and I mean, oh.
That's right. Weebo services all of our customers.
Not what I meant, Polly.
It's called the cocktail hour for a reason. We're drinking
That's
here.
Fair. That's fair. Lion Patriot, I like the way he put that. Honor must be upheld. I do not like a dishonorable person. There's a level of dishonesty in that,
I'm glad you didn't exist in the era of proper affairs of honor. That's a good thing. Yeah.
Dude, low key, had it been a different time period, I would have challenged her to an actual, gun battle, duel.
If it, what interests me about previous time periods, like we're talking, let's say Old West, especially Frontier, and back. Let's say somebody really upsets you. You know what I mean? And you have friends in another town. Okay. You go see the person in a back alley and you shoot them in the back, and then you go to another town. There you go. It's not like they've got DNA. I'm surprised that there weren't bodies all over the place. Didn't people realize how easy it was to get away with murder in 1870?
Did you never watch the documentary 1,000 Ways to Die in the West?
Okay, I have, but I mean, I'm not talking scurvy and impacted wisdom teeth and shit. I'm
also like murder, and bar fights, and accosting people in the streets and dueling with them in public. That movie was a comedy, obviously, but it had a level of accuracy. Life was shit. You were gonna die early.
Well, see, here's the thing. I think Seth MacFarlane is as funny as the aforementioned Impacted Wisdom too, so I couldn't bring myself to watch that movie. Seeing the trailer was like, yeah, okay, I get your point. Jesus.
I thought it was clever.
You thought it was clever, indeed.
I thought it was clever because it's basically a fourth wall break without blatantly breaking the fourth wall, because you were addressing everything about the movie that was absolutely ridiculous while still being in the movie, and having everyone around you just regard it as normal. It's not a big deal. Seth MacFarlane was the out of odds guy within the movie. You shouldn't have been there. He was the self-aware person.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of that kind of humor,
All right.
Oh shit. Let me get this. Let me get this. First off, where are my mouses? Thank you to Sean McMullen for the $2. Weebo and Polydub, take a shot, fam.
All right, I will. Hold on.
We gotta take a shot. And then Laney Stanfield for 20. Thank you. Maybe I missed the part of the story, but have you kept the professor clued in on what's going on? I feel like if you confronted her with being so dishonest, she could just go to said professor and claim you're bullying. So the professor is aware of what's happened, what's transpired. I didn't actually show him the text messages, but he is aware of exactly what's happened, and she's somewhat corroborated my story, but I guess the way that she put it was
I don't care.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. I wasn't there when she had the conversation with him about what happened.
Let me put it this way. I have been approached with group work difficulties as a class instructor, and my response was like, is there any way that you think you might be able to work this out amongst yourselves. Because like the first thing I'm thinking is like, hey, yo, I got my own fucking headaches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll tell you what. What are the people? Email me the names of the people in your group, and it's like, don't you have the group list? I'm like, okay, look, did you want my help or not? Email me the name of the people that are in your group, and then all I have to do is reply to that email. That was my thinking. It's like, oh, I've been led to understand that there are some, and I entered into like admin professorial language, meaning use a lot of words but don't say very much. You know, I have been made aware that there are some ongoing concerns and other things that need to be addressed within this group. Perhaps it would be helpful if all of y'all were to come by my next office hours, which will be at Tuesday at 3:00 in my office. And then they all came by, and like really it was like a airing of grievances thing that lasted all of 15 minutes, and you basically just have to chair a meeting where, you know, and it tends to get worked out, like the airing of grievances, and as long as you make everyone feel like they got their point out, it would, you know, if I was there, it would just kind of be like, if somebody submitted work to you and then you passed along the work but then dropped their name off of it, that's obviously wrong. And when you saw that, did you ask this person about it? No. Okay, so you came directly to me, and even though, you know, so you make everyone feel like they were right. And it's like, so everyone's got their grades and everyone understands why. Okay, well, thank you. All right. Go forth, future scholars.
Yeah.
See, you know what kills me is that I keep calling students future scholars.
They're not all going
and they think I'm complimenting them, but they don't realize I'm mocking them. Those
who can't do, teach.
Well,
those who can't teach gym class.
Yeah, we don't have a gym major in our school.
Ooh, no phys ed. Oof.
Well, I'm sure. No, we call it kinesiology.
Oh, those who can't teach learn about the. Oh boy. Transition. Thank you to the next 6 minutes for donating the 314 pie, essentially. Best damn 176-minute hour on the interwebs with Weaves and Poly. Buy some damn Weebo merch, college monies for epic grades and shit. For the win. Bro hugs or Poly. Give this dude bro hugs, everyone. Big ass bro hugs for the win. For the win. Also, guys, you should know that Poly's Streamlabs is linked in the description below if you would like to throw shekels at him.
Liquor costs money, y'all.
Exactly, and we want Poly nice and drunk and here on time, preferably. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
I was fighting traffic and other problems. I sound like a cartoon chipmunk?
Yes. You look like a cartoon chipmunk, too.
That's not a chipmunk. It's an adorable otter.
Right, but they're in the same family, I believe. Right?
I'd like to think not.
Now I'm curious. Chat, tell me, are otters in the same family as the chipmunk?
Like, I mean, they are both mammals, but that's...
Well, that's a pretty large... Whales are also mammals, Poly.
Yeah, see what I mean? I think you're being a little general here. They're both fur-bearing mammals, but that's, I think, where it ends.
I don't know, maybe.
So...
Weebo. Otters are weasels, chipmunks are rodents.
There you go. So let me ask you a question. Where do you come out on eating dolphins?
Where do I come out on eating dolphins?
Yes.
Fuck it, I'll eat a dolphin.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, is it for the same reason that Far has, where she's just like, fuck dolphins, they're rapists?
No.
No?
I like exotic food. I'll try anything once.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on, pause. Most things. There are a few things that I will not try. For instance, cannibalism is off the table completely.
Nice.
Anything with poop in it is absolutely new.
What has? Hold on. What has?
Anything.
What has poop in it?
I don't know. There's probably some sort of like African tribe in the middle of the, you know, South African.
Okay, first of all cultures are beautiful. Second of all,
you're wrong.
Okay, hold on. Switching to my second camera view. Over on the Streamlabs, thank you very much, Lion Patriot. Get a Streamlabs far, says Lion Patriot. that has become the new meme as of last night's Noir Bar.
Excellent.
Get a Streamlabs far. Excuse me. So what?
There's coffee beans that are made from the shit of monkeys. See, I would not eat that.
No, that's not true. I'm okay. It's kind of true, but it's it's not made from their shit. It's just it involves their shit. It's different.
Yes, and no, I will not eat a colostomy bag. You want me to click the link? Oh, Irate, where is this going to take me? I'm concerned. Aerosol gin is flavored with elephant dung, gets you shit faced. There we go. I will not eat that. Artisanal gin. I'm sorry. Artisanal.
Oh, aerosol gin. Jesus Christ, Weebo.
I will not drink that. Not just because I don't find gin to be good, but also because it's got poopy in it. I don't want to eat poopy.
It's got nothing to do with the poop. I simply won't damage the ozone layer.
Yeah. Ew.
See, we were talking about the variable. Yes.
Someone asked about the kitty cat in the house. Polly, I don't know if you know this, but we have a cat now in the house.
Is it a stray?
No, I think it's like one of the Asians bought it. I don't know how long it's gonna last, Polly. But it was here yesterday, just out of the blue, and it's still here today. So I think it's here for good because it's got a collar and everything. It's even got a name. His name is Bonsai. Her name is Bonsai. Sorry.
Bonsai.
Wandering the house. So presumably she's here to stay.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's got a collar and everything, like, does I don't know, like where you live at with the like licensures, like, but doesn't that mean like you should probably return it to like its owner who might miss it?
I think they own the cat. I think that they own the cat.
Who's they?
It's a kitten, the Asians. I think it is them.
Oh.
They said it's theirs. Or one of them, at least. We asked specifically. They're like, yeah, this is my cat. This is Bonsai. So we have a cat now.
The Asians named their cat Bonsai?
Yeah.
It's a little stereotypical. Why didn't they just call it lunch?
I don't know. But the what's likely to happen to transpire at the end of the semester, because the foreign exchange students at my school are notorious for leaving things behind after they've bought a whole bunch of crap.
Well, they wouldn't leave a kitten behind, would they?
You wouldn't think that they'd leave garbage laying in the floor of the kitchen for weeks on end, but we had to have an RA meeting about that nonsense now, didn't we, Polly? So
yep, you went full Karen.
I went full Karen. And you know what? I got results. All right. They have contributed to the household. The kitchen is clean. The flies are being trapped in the fly trap as we speak. All right.
All right.
So it pays to go full Karen.
It's Weebs in the voice of it's ma'am.
It's ma'am. Side tangent. Hello, everybody. Thank you to Evolved Potato for donating the $5 to the Streamlabs. Weebo what's your opinion on eating juicy otter steaks? They're not poisonous, like Polly says, and can be delicious when cooked right. I have no opposition to eating otter steaks.
Look, you can what?
Watch yourself, Polly.
What? Jesus. And the BTK over on the Streamlabs says, Weeb's favorite transsexual has just come into your bank account. Looks left, looks right. Damn, it's lonely in here. Words. Bunch of words. Words. My words, your words, his words, her words, its words. Fright power, fright supremacy, purple rain.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Pincalo, the driving ape man, says, when I worked in a dorm, one kid left a freezer full of deer meat. Yeah, so see, anything could happen. I could go home next semester plus a cat.
Oh, I'd steal that shit so fast. A freezer full of deer meat, I'd be all over free venison. Exactly. I go to my dad's house and steal fucking venison out of his deep freeze all the time. I do, actually.
I've never actually had venison.
What's that?
I've never had venison. Is it good?
Oh, it's so good. I mean, people talk about, it's gamey. You know, I think gamey is honestly the word that people use when they, like, it doesn't taste like, if it's red meat and they say it's gamey, they mean it doesn't taste like beef.
So what does gamey mean exactly? Because
Right?
I don't know what it means.
It's a nebulous, non-defined thing. Like, you know, when you talk about like a game animal, that's what it's referencing, right? It's a little gamey.
Yeah,
And they mean it doesn't taste like it's been grain fed from a farm in a very particular way. So its meat's going to taste. If it's out there in the forest eating like nuts and berries and grass shoots and shit, it's going to end up tasting different. You are what you eat to a certain degree.
But I thought mass-produced cows were fed corn, not grains anymore.
Well, sure,
Like,
whatever. Like, I mean, they're being fed whatever they're being fed that makes them taste like whatever they taste like. And don't forget all of those antibiotics and everything else that they're shooting them up with, or whatever the hell, like whatever lifestyle they're subjecting them to is making them taste a certain way. And that's what people mean, I think, when they say gamey. It means if it's a red meat, it just doesn't taste like red meat. And if it's like a poultry product like wild turkey, which is also a delicious bourbon, or partridge or something like that, right? Just, it doesn't taste like chicken. Is what I think they mean by gamey.
You ever had pheasant?
I have.
I've had smoked pheasant, and I thought it tasted like hot dogs.
Really?
Yeah. Like, if I had to attribute a flavor to it, hot dogs would be it. Like, I put ketchup on that bitch, and I could eat it cold and just go.
Nice. Over on my Streamlabs, next 6 minutes. Thanks, Sigs. He says, the cup of coffee on me, bro. And a bro hug thrown in for free, my dude. If you want more bro hugs, then there was more where that came from, Kimasabi. Cue the otter theme music. Is that what the otter theme sounds like to you?
I don't know. I've never heard the otter theme. I just thought that you were queuing me up to swing you with an otter theme. Maybe. I don't know. Did you want me to?
No.
No? Okay. Sorry.
No, I already have an otter theme.
Oh. Well, send it to me. I don't know what it sounds like.
Hey, let me ask you a question. So you're paying for Streamlabs, right?
I don't pay for Streamlabs.
Or not Streamlabs, fucking
StreamYard. Yeah.
So why is it that you don't, like, out of curiosity, take advantage of the features of StreamYard? Like, let's say putting both avatars or your camera image and my avatar, whatever, off to the side, and then having the big central image is like a background thing where you can project things or share the screen, or have a background image generally behind those. Why don't you do that?
So you missed it when I was here earlier. I did try to incorporate some extra stuff because I was toying with Voicemeeter earlier, and I was trying to get desktop audio to route through so that maybe perhaps at some point we could actually do something with visual audio stuff. Like maybe play really crappy political adverts and mock them out of existence. But that didn't work out very well. So it's like a slow moving process. That's the next thing that I want to get geared up. And then after that, I'm going to have some visual stuff that I work on. But it's very slow going because I'm a college student, Polly, and I can only do so much at the same time on the time constraint that I have. So it's in the works. It's just very slow moving. I'd like to do a whole bunch of cool stuff. Like I said, the next thing is going to be routing audio with the visuals so we can do some cool reaction stuff.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to hold you individually responsible. I'm just... No, I'm not. I'm not trying to hold you individually responsible. Okay. It's just everyone I know, literally everyone I know that pays for StreamYard doesn't do anything with the options. They just do the do. I don't, and I'm curious as to why. Look, Pilgrim Otter.
Working on it. It's a process. And I see Pilgrim Otter. Speaking of things that are completely unrelated to what it was we were talking about.
Yes.
Did you do your homework over the week?
Did I do my homework?
Remember last week we gave you an assignment?
No.
To watch Pride and Prejudice?
Oh. Well, I thought that was more of a penance than homework, but
Yes and no.
Well, okay, you know what? I'll tell you something about that.
What?
There seems to be a great amount of disagreement over which Pride and Prejudice I should watch. Some people are like the A&E one, some people are like the zombie one, some people are like that, and I don't know.
Well, okay. What are you most disinclined to or what are you less likely to enjoy, do you think?
A lack of boobs.
None of them. Well, there's a lot of cleavage in the zombie one.
Oh, well, that's something.
But Keira Knightley is kind of boobless, so if she had tits, maybe you'd get them. But I mean, maybe she's like the other. I don't know. Do you like Keira Knightley? Did she do anything for you?
Yeah, she's all right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she's okay. Like, I mean, she's a very pretty woman. I'm not saying anything bad about her. It's just,
I think so too.
We had to sneeze there.
Amy. Gesundheit.
Wait a minute. Did you hear me sneeze?
You said I had to sneeze there.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I just let out a double sneeze and I reached up and muted my mic.
I kind of heard the first part of it, so yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm like, did I just sneeze right? I did just sneeze right into the mic. I would have felt bad if it had gone out. So anyway.
10 years ago, now she's kind of insane. Hey, I can compartmentalize the insanity from the looks. I am that kind of a person. So long as I don't have to worry about the actual insanity part of everything, we're good.
Yeah, okay. I've been over this. It's like it depends on the person. I found out that I arbitrarily judge actors and actresses by what they do outside of their work. Some people get a pass for arbitrary reasons and other ones don't.
Holy.
It's like, that person's insane and has said all kinds of stupid shit that you hold against other people, but you still call that person like a great actress and hot, right? I'm like, yeah, that's what we mean when we say arbitrary.
That's yeah. Okay, you know what? I will look up Pride and Prejudice actresses who played Elizabeth Bennet, and you can decide based off of the actresses which one you're going to watch. How about that?
Okay. Well, which one is I don't know. What's the main one? Like, what's the one that everybody references? Like, if you're gonna if you haven't seen any of the Star Wars films, and you say which one should I watch? It'd be like, go watch the one that everybody references or should reference, the original Star Wars, A New Hope. Watch that. That kind of thing.
Hang on.
Oh yeah, and Pink Collar just brought up Reese Witherspoon. If Reese Witherspoon is in any of them, not that one. I can't stand her.
She's not.
Oh, okay, good.
There's that one. Then there's, hang on.
My name is Reese. I'm named after a combination of chocolate and peanut butter for no good reason.
Okay.
I also have a chin that could be used to open tins of tuna fish.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. And then
I've got a cleft in my chin that would make Kirk Douglas jealous.
Yeah. Let me find good images of all three doing their Elizabeth Bennet thing. Not that. God damn it. Hang on. Sorry. The music in the background that you can hear from me talking and fighting.
Have you ever seen Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy, Cobbler, Candlestick Maker?
I'm sorry, what?
What?
What? What are you talking about? What? I don't know what's going on. Polly.
Have you ever seen a movie called Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Spy?
No. What?
Okay. Well, it's based on older material. It was greatly beloved material, and then Gary Oldman stars in it, and people seem incapable of saying Gary Oldman's anything other than an acting phenomenon, and so everybody pretended that movie was good when it totally wasn't.
Okay. All right. So this is the 2005 version with Keira Knightley.
Hold on, let me expand the screen here. Let's see. Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so that's Keira Knightley. I don't actually think, maybe that was from, I don't recall that outfit in the movie, but it's the same hairstyle, so maybe it is. Then this is Jennifer Eel, 1995, Elizabeth Bennet.
Okay.
And then this is Pride and Prejudice and Zombie Elizabeth Bennet.
Who is that?
That is Lily James.
Lily James. I'm okay. So Keira Knightley of the three.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So then you're gonna watch the 2005 version. I don't know why I said it like that.
Did I pick wisely?
Version. Yeah, I quite like that version as well. The 1995 version is exactly like the book, like true to exactly the book, adapted 100% exactly that way. In all of the dialogue, nothing was cut out. It's like a 6-part BBC miniseries. It's got Colin Firth in it. The only detraction that it has, it was entirely done for all of the ladies because there was like Colin Firth fever going on at that point because that was like when he was at his peak.
I'm a single ladies. I'm a single ladies. I'm a single ladies.
The scene where he dives into a pond with his nice white linen shirt or whatever, or I don't know what kind, maybe it was a white cotton shirt. He dives into a pond and then he like comes out of it and you see him all wet.
So it was like homoerotic.
It was the most erotic scene of the movie.
The most erotic scene in the movie has a guy in it, like only a guy. I mean,
because it's classically for women, so obviously they have to play it up for the ladies.
It wasn't made for you, Polly.
The Pride and Prejudice in zombie movies a little bit more swanky, in that it focuses a lot more on the certain female aspects, as opposed to like the male.
Weebs. Here's your challenge of the night. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In 4 sentences or less, who's prideful over what, and who's prejudiced and against what?
Mr. Darcy is prideful over his stature as I guess you could say, higher class person, as opposed to Elizabeth Bennet, who is prejudiced against him and thinking he is a snubbly nosed, rich boy.
Huh. Okay. I get it.
Basically, I just summarized the whole plot for you. But it's very interesting.
I don't know. This sounds like a not very diverse film.
It's clever. You would appreciate it, I think. The dialogue of that film is peak. Beautiful. I particularly love it because it's so clever. It's one of those movies that you watch over and over again because the dialogue is maybe something that, like, just you revisit and you enjoy because it's so clever. It's not stale and wooden like the dialogues of today's modern films and whatnot.
Oh, I was at a party the other night, and it was heard to remark that Mr. Forsyth came by and he said it was time for high tea, but he did not know that in this part of the country they don't do high tea, only low tea. What a canard.
No, it's a lot more clever than that because you have to be able to offend without offending, insult without being obvious about it, and still get your point across. So it's very clever, Polly. Like, okay, let's look at some iconic lines from Pride and Prejudice. I'm trying to sell you on this, and I feel like I'm outworking. Jane Austen was a master of the pen and, writing stuff.
She worked in subtleties of sarcasm, like a great painter works with oils.
Okay, so the very first line of the entire book itself is, "It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of good fortune must be in want of a wife." And that tells you the setup for the rest of the movie. It's all about finding a partner because everything that you did back in those days was to marry up, specifically the women. And so they would essentially not prostitute themselves, but prostitute themselves, the men, in a way that was socially acceptable. What else? "I have not the pleasure of understanding you." Another gold nugget of a quote. "I must learn to be content with being happier than I deserve."
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a slap-worthy comment right there.
Exactly. That's the whole script. It's just constantly.
And wait a minute. Well, hold on. Just slow your roll. And you didn't appreciate the brilliant repartee going on in Casablanca by the wonderfully sarcastic pen of the Epstein brothers?
No, I did appreciate that. That was one of the things that I appreciated.
Oh, okay.
I didn't appreciate the delivery of those lines.
What?
The way that they were delivered didn't seem genuine to me, like naturally. There's a flow in Pride and Prejudice where it's just said unstonily, unboard like it's just being written off like a script. It's done naturally but flawlessly.
Is that, Chad? Are you getting a slightly aristocratic air from Weebs? I am.
What does that mean? Aristocratic air.
I'm sure I meant precisely what I said, my dear.
Dumb it down for me, Polly. I'm blonde, you know.
And Polish.
Hey now, that's racist. Thank you, Jolander. He says it felt very forced.
Casablanca did.
I'm not a snob. Irate Prostate, I see you in chat. I think he's talking about Casablanca because we watched it together, Jolander and I. And Lion Patriot was there too.
Right. Well, okay, so it felt forced. That's too bad. I mean, they
were good lines. I'm not gonna lie, they were clever.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I take it as a given that there's things you can like and not like, and all appreciation of a movie or whatever the hell. It's all subjective. I take that as a given. Mm-hmm. After all, Irate Alex thinks that The Town is a terrible movie, and he turned it off like a third of the way through. There's no accounting for his bad taste. Am I right?
Right. I haven't seen it yet, though, so I wouldn't know, Polly.
All right. Let me go procure this film from perfectly legitimate sources. You said 05?
05, yeah.
05. All right. I shall procure said film. Now,
yes.
With that said, let's talk about turkey.
Turkey? Thanksgiving?
It's a bird.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, why? What do you want to talk about regarding turkey?
Were you aware that turkeys don't fly?
Yes.
Were you actually aware of that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know how many times I come across wild turkey on my day-to-day? Like, a lot more frequently than you'd expect. A lot more frequent than you'd expect. Yeah. I live in the Midwest, Polly. There's turkey aplenty. In addition to deer, we used to have wild turkey come and visit us in my backyard at the house where I live when I'm not here at college. And on the side of the road, I've seen turkey driving just casually. So yeah.
Okay, I listen. I have never listen. Look, everyone's getting real irate.
They can't
phrase in chat saying they can't fly, motherfucker. I was like, okay, all right.
They can't fly very far. They can like lift themselves off the ground, but they won't get very far. Like
that's all I'm saying. Like, I mean, I've just never seen a flock of turkeys flying south for the winter. Is what I'm saying. And I'm not saying that they're migratory birds or whatever. It's just if I saw a flock of wild turkeys, it'd be pretty freaky.
They can.
Like, I mean, like where I live at, okay, we see there's been lots of honking Canadian geese flying around and getting together, and God, they're mean bastards.
Okay.
Woo!
They cannot. Anyway, if it's for 20 yards or more, or 200 yards or more, they're not flying. They are hopping up and coasting. That's not flying.
Yeah, okay, like that's what I meant. I'm calmly. I am perfectly willing to accept that they can
not gain hundreds of feet of altitude.
That's all I meant. Like get up there and stay up there kind of thing is what I was referring to. I totally believe that they could, I don't know, flop for great distances, whatever you want to call it.
Just imagining
tumbling and falling through the air awkwardly as we imagine a turkey would do.
They fly about as well as I could with a hang glider that was broken in the middle.
Yeah.
So
and it's because it would actually surprise me if they couldn't get up for a little bit, because while they're rather bulbous, rotund birds, they still do have a pretty big wingspan and big wings in general. So yeah, I'd be surprised if they couldn't get up a little bit.
I appreciate
So anyway,
your use.
have you ever had a wild turkey roasted on like as food?
Roasted? Like
or whatever, cooked in some kind of way.
I've made my own turkey before. Yes. Have I ever had turkey?
No,
American?
I didn't. No. I didn't say a turkey. I said a wild turkey.
Oh, no, I have not. You know, I could probably shoot one in the backyard and have it for dinner.
Well, I already asked you, have you ever killed one? And you didn't answer.
Oh, sorry. No, I've never had the opportunity to. Although,
no,
I thought about it once. Because they were just sitting there in the backyard minding their own business. And I mean,
it's free.
It's an arrow, and it was upstairs. I could have just strung it, shot it, and like, Dad, I got dinner.
Yeah.
I don't think he would appreciate it, though.
Like, if I had free dinner walking around in the backyard, you think I'd let it just walk away? I'm here to tell you I wouldn't. So
they can jump like 20 feet tops.
I mean, like, as you can see, I am a pilgrim otter. I'd get up my blunderbuss and have at it.
Myth or not, didn't Benjamin Franklin want the national bird to be a turkey?
That's not a myth. That's true. No, that's not a myth. That's true. Okay. Because they're native to the continent. And they're big old weird birds, and you know, like he thought it was like, because I mean, when you go back to like his era, and you know, he was a very old man by the time of the American Revolution, which is, by the way, one of the things that makes him cool. Who becomes a revolutionary at 72 years old? Dr. Franklin.
To worry about. Because, like, think about it. When else are you going to be a revolutionary aside from when you're old and dying? You want to see things change on your way out, and you don't have to getting shot by the establishment.
Okay, I mean, that's a fair enough argument, but the reality is that the American Revolution was largely a young man's game. Most of the people that were involved in it were quite young.
It was. The founding fathers were basically millennials to the boomer crowd.
Okay, true, but it was also a time where it's like, you're 16 years old. Why don't you have a wife, kids, and a career yet, you bastard? So
that is true. And also, living years was about what, 34, give or take.
You know, people say that, but there's what drives down life expectancy at that time was extreme infant mortality. Number one,
yes.
Like a lot of youthful death drives those numbers down. I mean, Washington lived an extended life. Dr. Franklin, aforementioned, lived an extended life. Lots of them lived quite old. And there's no reason that General Washington should have died when he did. It was just, he just did. Like, did he really have to go out riding that day and catch pneumonia? But, you know, hey.
Yes, he did, probably. History dictated it, so it happened.
Well, there are so many things that are providential in that man's life. I would be willing to accept that was simply his fated day.
Franklin loved the ladies, and the ladies loved Franklin, apparently. Is that true?
Yeah, Joe Lander and Lion Patriot are not lying. He attracted women like you wouldn't believe, and the guy was I wouldn't exactly call. Yeah, that's the best way to say it. Women loved him, and he loved women. He wasn't a womanizer. He was a serial affairist, if that makes sense. He wasn't looking to take advantage of anyone, and no one was taken advantage of. He just
entered into many relationships with women. Didn't he spend an awful lot of time overseas, though, with the French?
Yes, but a lot of people did. I mean, Jefferson did. And unlike Jefferson, Franklin never went native.
What do you mean?
Jefferson, if you look at his writings and thoughts on things before his time in France and after his time in France, it greatly changed him. Mm-hmm. Not in any of the ways that we might hope, like, you know, not being in favor of slavery and all, but it
can't have everything.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you can,
but I mean, he became quite enamored with the idea of revolution, and as often as people like to quote his famous statement about the natural manure of the tree of liberty being the blood of patriots and tyrants and such, it's like, what was he referencing when he said that? He was referencing Shays' Rebellion. It's like, wait a minute, the American Republic is still in its infancy, and you're calling for a fucking revolution? Like, or quite in favor of revolution? Yeah, constantly in revolution. It's like, and when have you ever picked up a gun, sir? Oh, it's like, all right, never. Jefferson seemed all too willing to let the common folk pick up their muskets and fight out the revolution that he got to be the big brain of. I find myself
instead of him actually doing the dirty.
Correct. I find myself, like, I will openly admit my bias. I'm quick to be critical of Jefferson. I think I think he is who he is, but is overrated in that. And Franklin, on the other hand, gets underrated in terms of his contributions. Adams gets underrated in terms of his contributions. Like, where's the monument to John Adams? Well, there isn't one. Where's the one to Jefferson? I mean,
there was
Adams.
There was an entire TV show about John Adams, though. I remember watching maybe like the first half of it.
It was so good. It was so good, Weebs. It's like I mean, first of all, you get what's that?
So I should finish it, is what you're saying.
Oh, Lord, yes. I mean, just the costumery and the detail that they went to in the backgrounds. And Laura Linney as Abigail Adams, like the greatest of all first ladies. She just rocks that role as the strong, independent, brilliant woman that she was, who, you know, was in a true partnership with her husband. You know, it was, and then Paul Giamatti. Paul Giamatti just fucking owns that role. I mean, difficult scripts, a lot of dialogue, a lot of old-timey language, and both of them just run it 100% naturally. It's so fun to watch. They just inhabit those characters. The guy that they got to play Jefferson plays the effete nature of Jefferson quite well, the kind of removed, remote dude. The guy that they got to play Franklin, he brings the charm that Franklin would have had to have had, that Franklin charmed everyone he met and was able to convince people of all sorts of things. And he was this gregarious, funny, intelligent character, was the life of every party. Yeah, that actor brings those things to life. It's really cool.
And
so you're a horn dog. Yep. Pete,
he was basically a horn dog.
Yeah, well into his 70s. He was still loving the ladies, man. That guy was a virile man.
And that just goes to show that women are not just into money. You know, a good personality will get you places with the ladies. Funniness, charm, wit, definitely. Got all that? It's not just about looks and money, people.
Oh, that's true. You can go. I mean, there's lots of people that go a long way on. You know, it's something I thought about. Like talking about Paul Giamatti, right?
Yeah.
Some of the best actors are really ugly.
Well, they have to compensate for the fact that they can't just carry themselves
just on looks
with their face. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they compensate with being goddamn freaking great actors.
They compensate. No, but because if you think about like Paul Giamatti, great actor, but he's not what you would consider traditionally handsome.
No.
Ugly's too far. It's just not what you would consider traditionally handsome.
No. Like,
what's his name? Steve Buscemi. Again, he's bug-eyed, snaggletooth, all sorts of things. But holy fuck, is he great to watch on screen? It's
the people that dedicate a lot to their task, that enjoy their task, their craft, I guess you could say, that definitely, I think, go a long way.
Harry Channel says Robert Davi. Was that like Robert Duvall? Because who's also not traditionally handsome, but a hell of a fucking actor.
Let me see. I don't know who I've seen him before, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Here is the person with the face that is not conventionally attractive. I don't think I've ever seen him in a movie. Maybe I have. What would I know him from?
I have, yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
He plays a lot of gangsters.
Yes, he does. Yeah, he's like Edward James almost, that was also mentioned by Harry Channel, that he's got deep pitting in his face, but it's character when you're a great actor. You know what I mean? It gives your face.
It's just another one of those things that you can use to enhance the effect.
Yeah.
He's always a cop. Okay.
So Turkey.
So
we were talking last
what did you want to talk about regarding Turkey?
Well, we were talking last night on Noir Bar about turkeys and the like and the kind. And your boy Pat was there and we started talking about it. So have you ever had giblet gravy?
Giblet gravy?
Yes.
That where you take the innards and you chop them up real fine, you put them in the gravy and you make gravy out of them?
Yeah, like the giblets serve as the base of your gravy.
Oh, never had it.
No, neither have I. We're in the same boat on this one. Apparently, when I mentioned that, it's like, I didn't know you could use giblets to make gravy. And I looked it up, and apparently this is a huge thing. And
I knew them. I just didn't know that you could use them in gravy. Like, do you have to puree them before you put them in the gravy?
It's a good question.
Put them in whole chunk?
Some people like chop them up and mush them, and apparently when you do it proper, like, you chop it up finely, and then it as a lot of good things will for making soups and stews and stuff, they'll just dissolve, is what I'm gathering from the few recipes I remember reading. Yeah.
Let's see. In a 2-quart, I looked up the recipe from allrecipes.com. This is not a sponsorship. In a 2-quart, and simmer the giblets, salt, pepper, bouillon, celery, and onion in 1 quart of water for 40 to 50 minutes. Discard celery, onion, and gizzard. Chop the liver and neck and meat in. Return to pan. Add chicken broth if you have a turkey. Use drippings, about 1.5 cups in 1 can of chicken broth. Chop eggs and add to broth. Mix cornstarch and milk together. Slow again to broth. Stir until thickened. Reduce heat to low. Okay, so that does make sense.
See, I mean, like, and I'm intrigued. Like, got people in chat saying like, "Oh, you got to try it." I'm salivating, etc. You sound like, I mean, I've never had this, and I'm all about this. Like, I've had giblets as separate, because the bag of offal, whatever you want to call it, like the heart and the neck and the whatever that's stuffed inside
the liver,
yeah, all that stuff. I've had all, like, my mom and other places I've been, they just kind of cook it separately in the roasting pan. And then, like, anyone who wants it can have it. My dad's always going after that neck because he's gross.
Well, it's probably the juiciest part. You ever had oxtail soup?
Oh, wait a minute. Harry Channel says the giblets, heart, kidney, gizzard, livers all count as giblets. I didn't realize that was all.
Yeah,
well, because, like, the heart's my favorite part. That's the treat. Oh man, it's so good. It's a completely different kind of meat. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Like, the reason why the neck is delicious, because that's where all of the, you can get to the bone marrow easier that way. But, like, in oxtail soup, for instance, the oxtail itself, you just take a giant ass freaking vertebrate and you just go to the end of it, because that's where all of the marrow is, and it's delicious. So obviously, yeah, the neck is delicious. Or presumably if a turkey would be the same case. We're talking about food again? Yes, we are.
Yeah. Well, it is the season of Thanksgiving. Yeah. And so, okay, Weebs, I'd like you to weigh in on this matter as well. We talked about this a little bit last night. Cranberry sauce. Okay, homemade or canned jelly? What do you think?
Not a big fan of cranberry sauce.
Really? Like, just generally?
Just generally. Oh, huh. And I specifically do not like it when they add cranberries to the stuffing. Ugh. Don't do that. Do not do that. Don't. And don't add apples to it either. What kind of heathen are you?
And I know some people that get bent out of shape when I'm like, I like stovetop. It's really good. And I mean, it's not the only kind I like, but let's not pretend that stovetop stuffing's bad.
Oh no, Lion Patriots and subbing for me because I don't like cranberry sauce. Sorry.
Lion Patriot unsubbed.
I just don't like it. Like, sorry.
I mean, I just thought you were going to weigh in on it, because I get a lot of upper crusty people saying, "Oh, that canned stuff is gross." And I was having a conversation originally with Pop-Tart, Lucky Pop-Tart, and she said, "No, the cans is really good." And I'm like, "You're damn right it is." And I was talking last night with your boy Pat over there and over at Noir Bar, and Far was there with us, but she's an Australian, and they don't have Thanksgiving, which is unfortunate.
They don't have Thanksgiving. What's wrong with them?
Well, see, they didn't steal their country from the natives. They
don't even have it. Did you know that they're still under like they answer to the queen?
Well, hold on. Let me say that over again. Okay. They're not thankful for the country they stole from the natives.
But they still technically belong to the crown, Holly.
Well, I mean, not really. They're a sovereign nation. Well, they have a separate constitution, et cetera, et cetera. It's called the Commonwealth, Weebs.
Is Australia owned by the
owned? Yeah, that's
I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, when the queen dies, she's gonna leave it to her to her next.
Australia is a constitutional monarchy with the queen as sovereign.
It doesn't mean it's not a sovereign nation. I mean, you got like Like they have a governor general, don't they? There's Aussies in chat. You guys have a
country.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm saying. Like Pete says, we are sovereign. The queen is the head of state. Yeah. That's like,
so what does that even mean? Like, exactly.
Hold on. The president is both the head of state and the head of government, whereas the head of state in a Commonwealth country is the queen, but the head of government is prime minister, for example, in Australia.
Okay, so, but what is the head of state? Like, what is the difference? I'm not a poli-sci person. I don't know these things.
Well, we've just got herself out of voting, at least in Australia, where I don't think she can vote, so it works out. I don't
think I was ever planning on voting in Australia.
Well,
so what's the difference between head of state and head of government?
One is like figurehead, the other one is not. For our purposes here, one is like the actual functionary, administrator, executive officer of government, where the other one isn't. When they have a governor general, it means like when you're going to quote drop the writ, where you need to go ask the governor general for permission to hold an election. But that's pro forma. It's not like the governor general says no. You know.
Yeah.
I think they technically have the power to, but it's
a no.
Wow. BTK says England is nothing more than a colony owned by the European Union. Ow.
Ouch. The Harry channel. It's okay. You're American. You don't need to know. Thank you, Harry. You make me feel so good about the lack of knowledge I have about other countries' governments.
I got a question for you.
Yes. You may ask your question.
How often are senators elected in America?
Senators?
Correct.
It's every 6 years.
Right. It is every 6 years. Okay. Here's the one that kind of throws a lot of people. And I'm not trying to be trivia with it. It's just, so if they're up for election, how often is how much of the Senate up for election?
Is it not half?
But
like
no.
I would assume that there's like a rotation.
There is a rotation. That's the question. Like what is the rotation?
3 years, right?
No.
No? Oh, wait. Is it broken down between the 6 years? So like 100 divided by 6 is, oh God, math.
Yeah, it's broken down into thirds, so no more than a third of the Senate is up for election. Okay. So it's every 2 years another set is up for re-election.
Okay. It's okay. 1/3 every 2 years. So it's
no, that's good. That's good. You've met more than most people that I've talked to.
I went through American National Government in freshman year of college, so it's a little bit more fresh in my head than say the high school government class that everyone takes. But I'm not well versed. Like I'm not 100% practiced. I got a really good grade in that class.
Sweet.
But I don't like it's not something I use on a daily, so I don't retain everything. I know the basic stuff, like there are 3 branches of government AOC.
Yeah, you know more than some elected officials. My God. Apparently. I don't expect everyone to be a governmental expert, but a lot of the crap that she gets herself, a lot of the gaffes that she has is because she starts talking about things that she's not even certain of, or vaguely certain of, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't believe that everybody has to be. You have to effectively represent your constituents. You simply have to be aware of what you're doing on the committees that you're on, and aware generally of what the body you belong to is functional for. So if you're not aware of the exact authorities of the executive office, it would be nice if you were. The more informed you are, the better. But she is gaffed that she's not even aware of her role as a representative for the people that elected her, like in a basic way. She talks about the smaller committees that she's on, and here's what we're going to do. And it's like, that committee's not even remotely responsible for that thing. How are you going to function? And this wasn't like before she had served a single day on that committee. That's after she'd been on that committee for months. How the fuck can you not know what you're doing there? Aren't you attending the meetings?
No, she attends the meetings, but like she phones them in, she's just there in physical body form. She's not actually there mentally, which I, as a college student, have experience in. You just phone in a class instead of actually being there mentally. You're just sitting like, eh.
Well,
it can happen. And that's probably exactly what's going on. She's just phoning it in.
Or aware of what high crimes and misdemeanors mean. Well, according to Harry, what Harry Channel said, you're right. And the whole impeachment thing, she keeps talking about criminal charges. And it's like, you're aware that the impeachment process expressly cannot lay criminal charges, that the highest sanction it can offer is removal from office. But she keeps talking about after impeachment, he's going straight to jail. And I'm, what? Do you realize you can't send people to jail from Congress, right? Through the impeachment process. Yeah, I don't think she does. I don't think she's aware.
Power. I knew that, and I forgot everything from American National Gov. Oh, that was actually a really fun class to take, Polly, and I really appreciate that class, even though I don't remember a whole lot from it, because I understand how difficult it is, because we played basically like a mock government in that class for the second half of the semester, where I was the Democratic majority leader of the Senate, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to get things passed through Congress that were extremely difficult, and coordinating with all of these other party members. And, other side of the, oh, God, the other halves, God, the Republican sides, we were trying to coordinate stuff to get like a majority vote on certain issues that would definitely help the country and yada, yada. And it was just because everyone had their own motives. So you're just trying to like, oh, it was nuts. And we did that for an hour, 3 times a week for maybe 4 weeks. And it was frustrating as all hell. So I have a new level of, and I shouldn't say this because, there are certain members of our Congress that are super lazy, but I have a new level of respect for the members of Congress that do actually make an effort to put forth meaningful change.
Okay, hold on.
What are you laughing at? Can I say something?
No, I'm not laughing at you. I just, hold on here. Let me share my screen.
Do you have a meme for me?
Share screen.
What the freak? Polly, what about what I said made you think of this?
Nothing. I was like, I gotta close this tab, and then what? He's a member of Congress. It relates. He is a googly-eyed man. There's no getting away from that.
That's fair. Yes.
Everyone focuses on his pencil neck, including Trump. It makes fun of, and he does have a pencil neck. There's no question. But it's the goddamn bug eyes that get me. I mean, whew. It's like, man, you are aware that eyeballs can dislodge from the orbital socket, right? You gotta suck them fuckers back in, man. What?
There are no sucking apparatuses within the eye sockets, Polly. If you want to stick your eye back in its socket, you have to push that sucker back in with some force.
No, I'm saying no. There's people that can do that. That I don't recommend you look up GIFs or YouTube videos of people doing it, but they can like make their eyes goddamn bug right the fuck out of there.
Nope.
No, I'm not talking pop out, roll across the floor, be hanging from the retinal cord or whatever the fuck. No, I just
still no.
No, you didn't strike me as the queasy type.
No, I'm not queasy. I like, I can handle blood and guts and shit. But like, if a body part moves in a way it's not supposed to, I'm a cringe. I don't like that. Like there is this one episode of Criminal Minds that I will never forget. Is the one with the puppet guy who kidnapped a whole bunch of people, and he was obsessed with having like human puppets and whatever, and he dislocated all their joints. And you watched it and you heard it, and that lives with me to this day. And every single time I think about it, because I think about it quite often, more so than I need to, but like every time I think about it, it gives me like an actual physical reaction, and I hate it. Oh God! But blood and guts is not a big deal for me. I can look at a bloody eyeball all day long, and it's not a big deal. But if a body part moves in a way it's not supposed to, like that, like a limb, I don't like it because I have shoulder elasticity. I have the dislocated shoulder issue where I have to relocate it every once in a while, and it hurts like a motherfucker. I don't like it.
Dyslistia, you say? Is that what it's called?
No, it's shoulder elasticity. It's
shoulder elasticity. Okay, I misunderstood.
Sorry. Yeah, your shoulder socket doesn't quite fit into, or the joint doesn't quite fit into the socket, and so instead of like this, it's kind of like this. Every once in a while, it just kind of pops out a little bit, and you have to physically put it in yourself. So I've gotten really good about doing that with this shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I do not like it.
So this we came along to Pride and Prejudice, right?
Yes.
Because I had asked you, we were talking about Casablanca, and I mentioned it as one of the great forlorn love films or whatever. It stands out like the famous romance between Rick and Elsa in that film. Mm-hmm. And then I said, well, what stands out to you? What's a high romance? And you said Pride and Prejudice. Okay, so that's why I'm going to go watch that. What is a great character arc film for you, where a character goes through some great change or great realization or great where they end up at the end of the movie in a wildly different place than when they started? Anything come to mind?
Immediately, like off the cusp, just not like super quickly. Give me like 5 minutes and we'll come back to this.
Sure.
I'll have an answer for you.
No, and you know what? Yeah. If you want to like Twitter it to me later, that's cool. Take your time. I mean, I don't think that everyone's going to have these things off the top of their head.
Now I'm thinking about it. Because I do have an example of this where I've had like thoughts in my head of, oh my God, that's fantastic character development. But it's not like super readily available, unfortunately, for whatever reason. I can't think of it. Because it's not like a part of my everyday, this is what I think about. It's just like in passing. Oh, fantastic. Oh, Polly, I have another movie question for you. Have you ever seen Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
Okay. Who's the real hero of that story?
The little guy. What's his name?
Yeah,
the guy who carried the ring. What's his name?
Frodo.
Frodo, is that his name? Him.
He's Frodo who carried the ring is that story.
Either he's the hero or the other guy. The guy that was the night racer and then became the king. He found out he was the king.
Oh, Aragon.
Yeah.
Aragon.
It was, in case you can't tell, I've never read the books and I only saw each one of the movies once, and it was like 4 years ago.
You think it's a toss-up between Frodo and Aragon?
That's my take on it, but I am not an expert on those films. I realize people love them to death and know every detail. I'm certainly not one of those people, so I'm not gonna talk like I suddenly understand the films deeply when I don't.
Okay. Gollum is the real hero. I disagree. I don't think Gollum is the real hero. I also don't think that Frodo is the real hero. I think that an argument can be made for Aragon. But honestly, even if, let's be honest, if the ring hadn't been brought to Mordor, anything that he had done wouldn't have really mattered in the long run anyway. So I think that the real hero of the story is actually Sam, right? Because without Sam, Frodo would not have managed to actually get the ring to Mordor, and it would not have accidentally been thrown in the fire. Because if you remember at the end of the third film, right, Frodo actually thinks about not dunking it into Mount Doom, right?
Right.
The only reason it actually goes into the fire pits is because Gollum shows up at the last second and forces it off the cliff, bites Frodo's finger off, and tosses himself off the side of the thing. But without Sam, it would not have made it to the summit of Mount Doom at all, because Sam is the one that carried Frodo's ass. Sam is the one that gave him all the pep talks and the speeches. Sam is the one that came back for him when even after Frodo told him to bitch up, So Sam is a real hero of that story. He is the unsung hero of that story, and it pisses me off that he's not getting the recognition he deserves. Same thing with in the second season of Stranger Things. I totally think that actor, because they're the same actor, by the way, totally think that actor does not get the credit he deserves. He's a good boy.
Really?
The hero is within you. The sheet is fake. And so because of that, I've kind of started to reanalyze traditional like stories with heroes in them for who is the real hero of the story, because you'd think that obviously it would be Frodo because he's like the main character and he's the person that the story is supposedly all about, or it would be like the obvious Aragorn. But no, it's in reality Sam.
So in your mind,
yeah,
the hero isn't the person of. I'm just trying to get a sense of what you're saying.
The hero is the main character.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people just take the hero to be the protagonist, right? Or, whatever. But you think it's the person who's the most stalwart in the progression of things by holding to the virtue that ends up causing the thing to turn out right.
Maybe not holding on to the virtue, but it's because of Sam, not just, Sam being Sam, but Sam helping Frodo on his journey, Sam picking him up and carrying him up the mountain.
So the person who's the most instrumental in the positive outcome becomes the hero.
Yes.
Okay.
He was the most instrumental person in getting the ring to where it was supposed to be at the time it was supposed to be there in order for it to be destroyed. Therefore, he is the real hero. And
that would make the real hero of Raiders of the Lost Ark Adolf Hitler.
Because he was most instrumental.
Yeah, they wouldn't have even been digging where they were digging, and Indiana Jones wouldn't have even been involved if they hadn't been digging and contacted his former professor, the father of his forlorn love interest. None of it would have happened if it wasn't for Adolf Hitler obsessed with.
But in Raiders of the Lost Ark, right, all of the Nazis died because directly of the actions that they committed. They opened the Ark, and their faces melted.
Yeah, but I mean, Indy didn't do shit except sit there and not get melted. Or stand there tied up and not get melted.
Nothing would have changed if Indy had not been in that movie.
See, you know what? That's the ongoing thing about Raiders of the Lost Ark. I really want to rewatch that film and find something that Indy did, because I can't say it's wrong. When people have said this thing, but everything would have turned out the same. I want to watch that film and find something, anything where I can say, no, Indy caused this at this moment. He looked a certain way off to the left, and it caused someone to, like, I don't care how small it is, but I want to find something that I can hold on to and say, no, he was necessary. Things would have turned out differently if it wasn't for him.
Tell that to Monkey that the entire first movie of Indiana Jones is a complete sham, and that Indiana Jones is a title character and literally nothing else.
Well, you've heard that argument before, right?
No, actually, that's the first time.
No, it's out there, and it's a thing, and people talk about it. It's like, I love that film, but there's no denying that the main character of Indiana Jones is irrelevant to the story. He's simply along for the ride, and that doesn't make it a bad movie. It just means, like, the main character is irrelevant to the way the plot develops. He's just simply there. They still would have found the Ark. They still would have got the amulet piece.
Joel Andrews got it. Marion would have died. Marion would have died if Indy was not there to tell her not to look.
Well, she wouldn't have been on the island in the first place. Like when the henchman in the black suit, the guy who actually like had the close up of his face melting from all of the gifts. I can't remember that guy's name. The henchman in all black. He would have just shown up at her drinking saloon in Nepal or wherever the fuck it was, and he would have gotten the amulet from her, and that would have been the end of it.
Oh, no, Joel Andrew disagrees. But that is kind of like a goddamn moment when you're realizing that the main character of an entire plot has nothing to do with the outcome. Like, they're such a passive character. Not passive in like, oh, everything's happening to
it's
them.
just all, I mean,
nothing
shit out of him. He nearly got killed I don't know how many fucking times. All of these things and stuff and etc. that he did, and in the end, it didn't matter. He just could have stayed home.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
He served as a cargoman. Because okay, so everything would have turned out exactly the same. They still would have went to the island. They would have been digging in the right place in Egypt to begin with. So they would have found the room with the stick and the amulet and the light pointing at where on the city you need to go look for the ark. They would have gone down there. They would have gotten the ark. They would have taken it to the island. All of their faces would have melted, and then the ark would just be left there. The only reason it ended up in the hands of the American to be looked at by top men is because Indy was there. Otherwise, well, think about it. He did keep it from the Nazis. That's it. That's the solution. He did keep it from the Nazis in the end because he was there and he was tied up and he said, Marion, don't look. And they looked away. And then so therefore their faces didn't melt. And so therefore he could have been away. Other Nazis would have come to the island and discovered the ark. So the ark would still be in the hands of the Nazis.
But they would have opened it up again and then had their faces melted off. And then the cycle would just continuously repeat.
So, well, there would have been a lot of face melting, but but they were Nazis. So, whatever. You don't think they would have eventually found somebody that could have?
What, that was immune to face melting? I don't think so, Polly. I think that the powers of the Lord are stronger than face melting. I don't know. Can someone explain to me why the faces melted anyway? Why was that the thing?
Daniel Fulman said, how did Indy leave the island? It's a good question. I would imagine that the Nazis had radios there, like on their various ships and stuff. And I'm assuming that all the Nazis on the island died, not just the ones in the immediate vicinity of the Ark. So there's just like melted bodies everywhere. So just go on one of the ships and get on the radio and be like, hey, yo, here's where we are. Here's our coordinates. For God's sake, come get us. There's melted faces everywhere.
SPF 9001, says the BTK.
I mean, it's a good question. Why did the faces melt? Because the Lord knows who is evil, I guess.
But like everything, it wasn't just the faces, was it? It was their whole bodies melted, and then not looking at the thing did not melt.
Oh yeah, they turned all the way to ash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One cannot behold the visage of God's grace and survive. Yeah, but okay, you don't have to survive. But why did your face goddamn have to melt?
Because it was an effect that they were capable of doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hear the point. One cannot behold the visage of God, but they weren't looking at God so much as they were looking into the
Ark.
The Ark of the Covenant that held the broken remains of the Ten Commandments, right? I mean, the Ark itself is kind of just a vessel to hold the covenant between Israel and God, i.e., the broken pieces of the tablet.
But like, also, what are the Nazis going to do with that? I know they were, all about that religious symbolism back in the day, but other than, using the religious symbol of the Ark, what's the point in finding the Ark?
The way that they play it out in the script is that an army which marches at the Ark and with the Ark in front of it is unstoppable, or whatever word they use, invulnerable, whatever. I mean, they treat it like it was a magic talisman, and whoever had it, like, this gave them like infinite lives and infinite ammo.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
No, it's not at all. It's like something God's like a national socialist because they have the Ark. Like, that's it. Mm-hmm. It's just possession of this one thing.
But like, if you really start thinking about it, the plot doesn't really hold up, does it?
Well, yeah, Ray says it's fucking cheat codes. Yeah, it was the Ark held divine cheat codes, basically.
Ray asked me about what book. I haven't started it yet. I've been working on my thesis. I'm gonna get to it this weekend though, because I'll have some time.
I mean, well, that's the way Spielberg plays all three movies in terms of like magic item talisman thing, right? Whether it's the Ark in the first one, the Shankara stones, I think they were called in the second one, or the Holy Grail in the third. And it's like, it doesn't matter who has the cup of Christ. It'll heal anyone's injuries. It would heal that gunshot wound in the side of Hitler's head that he self-inflicted. if they had poured water on it.
Yep.
From the cup.
Yep. Brought him back to life after he killed himself. Does it have that ability, Polly? Do we know?
To bring people back to life?
Yeah. Like it can heal them and it can give them immortality, but can it bring them back to life? Because that's a whole different.
That's a good question. You know, yeah, you'd have to ask. You'd have to ask Spielberg.
Yeah, I like thinking critically about movies. I probably ruin a lot of people's days with that. But I don't care. What other movie can we rip apart? What other really good movie?
Well, Casablanca has the famous thing that everyone can rip apart. You know, the letters of transit?
Mm-hmm. The
thing that they're after. Yeah, it's a giant MacGuffin. Right? Yeah, it makes no sense within the context of the movie and the time and the place that they're in. Who cares that General de Gaulle signed letters of transit? Why would Nazis in occupied France or Free France recognize the authority of General de Gaulle? That doesn't even make sense. Maybe. But it doesn't matter. The point is that they were the thing everyone was after, right?
Yeah. I mean, but like, how important is that one little thing to the rest of the plot, to the point where does that ruin the movie for you or not? How much BS are you willing to put up with? Like finagling of the plot, are you willing to put up with before it's just not good anymore? Or it just doesn't hold up?
Nothing like that for me. Like I can accept. Yeah, because to me, it's like the characters' interactions around it and the plotting and the scheming. Because the whole point is that Rick uses spoilers, but the movie's over 70 years old. Come on, you should have seen it already. The point is that Rick could immediately use the letters of transit for himself and Ilsa, and instead he writes in Victor Laszlo and Ilsa's name. Mm-hmm. He lets them escape, and his woman. We were never meant to be together. That's insane. And rejoins the resistance effort against the Nazis. Yeah. Like that's nuts. That's his big character arc. He goes from being this sullen, shut off, lone wolf type of guy to again fighting on the right side alongside Captain Renault. That's the point of it. So that is far more important than the fact that these letters of transit don't make no goddamn sense. They could have easily replaced General de Gaulle with, I don't know, Himmler's signature, and it would have made a fuck of a lot more sense.
Yeah. So just change the name, and that would have made it all the better. Or
some local constabulary's signature. Because remember, they're only trying to get from to Lisbon. Yeah, that's the only point. Because then Lisbon to wherever the fuck you want to go. Once you're out of Casablanca, you're out of Free France, not Nazi influence. Because the whole point is to get out from under Nazi influence, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I don't care whatever means by which they do that. If they're a little iffy, no, it doesn't bother me. Have films been ruined for you in that way, in some detail like that?
No, well, not like. Depends on how important that specific MacGuffin might be to the plot. It really is contextual. I couldn't give you an example like off the cuff just right now, but there have been instances in the past where films have been cheapened by plot that didn't add up or a plot that wasn't on par, I guess.
Cheapened? I think that's a really good word. It's like you made it lesser by having included that thing or not having thought that part out. Yeah.
Before we continue, hello transitionees. The BTK, thank you for the $2 over on the super chats. Do a Clockwork Orange. I've never actually seen that movie. Polly, have you seen that movie? I should probably watch it. I think I might have it on DVD actually.
Like I have it, and I know a lot of people like it. It's just that, again, this is just my little subjective taste, but that's one of those films that I watched when I was on this big kick of, I'm going to watch all these big films that I've heard so much about that I've never seen. I'm going to get around to doing it. And I went on this big, 6-month-long kick of watching nothing but movies like that. And Clockwork Orange was one of them. And I don't know. so much has been made of the scene where he's pinned down at the end with his eyes held open, pinned open. Well, and like force-fed information, a kind of like brainwashing by the state to completely change who he is and what he likes through aversion therapy.
Yeah.
So much has been made of that I thought the whole movie was going to be very 1984-esque in the sense. And I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, Jesus Christ, these guys are part of like a rape gang squad that are really into Beethoven, that like the whole movie was just a mess of fuckery. And I guess the people who are aware of that going in or found a lot of interesting things in the strange verbiage that was being used by the main character, the narrator, and the just chaos of the whole thing really dug the style of it. Okay, yeah, I get that. But it reminded me very much of Saturday Night Fever when I finally saw it, like, whatever, a month ago. And I'm like, I thought this movie was a borderline fun-loving musical about people that were obsessed with disco. And it turned out to be about a dancing rapist. I was just blown away. Like, nobody in that movie was a very likable person at all. Like, and I don't mean likable, like, well, no, they don't. But I mean, redeeming in some kind of way. There's some kind of characteristic that makes them at least fun or interesting. Tony Manero, I think was his name. It's like, this isn't a very likable guy. All of the disco scenes are great. They're filmed great. The dancing was great. Travolta clearly worked his ass off to be able to do all that shit. It was fantastic. But then all of a sudden it goes back to it was like everyday life. And I'm like, God, where's this whole story going? Like, he cusses his mother out. He gets so angry. That whole plot line with his brother, the priest who left the priesthood, went nowhere. It was just a fucking mess. And I was left confused. Like, why did this become a cultural phenomenon? Is it because it was like a big disco movie and everyone only thinks about the dancing? I don't know.
Well, I think that can be said about a lot of cult classics. Like The Big Lebowski, there's no reason why that should be a cult classic other than it's just absolute nonsense, and some people are into that, me specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it because it's mindless, because it's different from what it is that you get in a normal movie. And also the memes are great. I quite enjoy those.
So I think I probably went into Big Lebowski like way after the fact. With the right mindset. Somebody said it's not a fantastic movie. It's got this. It's just really. The movie's full of a lot of characters. Like when you say somebody's a character, it's full of a lot of like gregarious characters.
Yeah.
And it's extremely quotable. I said so. It's just yeah, and it's like so. It's just got that kind of dialogue, and the guy's like, yeah, exactly. So when I went to watch it, I was kind of like in the right mind state. I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going into now.
Grace Jacobson brings up Napoleon Dynamite, and I am reminded of the live tweet thread that I had while I was watching Napoleon Dynamite. It's probably some of my more golden tweeting of my life. It's an interesting experience. I didn't know what to expect, but Balak wanted me to watch it, and so he forced me to sit down and watch it with our other friend who we actually watched Fight Club together, all three of us as well. And it was an experience, I'll say that. Nothing really happened in that movie. Like nothing actually there was no plot. It existed. But it was still decent. And I'm not used to that kind of thing, and so I think that's why I enjoyed it, because it was different. You know?
Next 6 minutes says I should watch The Apple. Oh, I've seen it more than once. It's fantastically bad.
Girls like guys with skills. Yep. The Lebowski soundtrack was awesome. Dude, I was a big fan of oh god, what's his face's character? The Vietnam guy. The veteran.
Oh, John Goodman's character?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't remember what his name was. But yeah, the dude was not my favorite. It was that guy, John Goodman's character. What else? Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas is all over the place. I've never seen it. I have like a whole list somewhere of movies that I'm supposed to watch that I have yet to get to, because one, there are maybe a million movies on there, and two, I don't have all the free time in the world. I still have to watch the Town, like Polly told me to last week. Right?
I suggested.
I take it as a homework assignment. I'm sorry I disappointed you.
Oh yeah, you should definitely get the extended authenticious edition, not the theatrical cut. You could actually watch either. It's just that is a good example of an extended cut, a director's cut that actually matters. Like, what's the difference? You know, there's like 4 minutes of additional footage. No, there's over 20 minutes of additional footage, and it's all the relationship between the main character and his love interest. It fleshes out that story a lot more. It's the same film. It's just told a lot more efficiently in the theatrical version, but to get why I like it, the director's cut's a lot better at that. It also makes it like 2.5 hours, but oh well. I mean, you wouldn't think that somebody would be able to write a film that's a giant love letter to another film and get away with it.
But it can happen.
But I just wouldn't think it would work. But The Town's a good example. It's a love letter to Heat, to Michael Mann's 1995 film Heat. There's even a clip where he's sitting there watching Heat in the movie. It comes extremely close to breaking the fourth wall at that moment. It's the guy who directed the film and co-wrote the film, and who is writing this and making this and starring in it as a love letter to Heat, is sitting there in that scene watching Heat. I'm like, my God, but it still rocks.
You know what was a really good movie that I saw recently that I quite enjoyed, that I don't hear a lot of people talking about? What was a decent action movie? It was a period film, and it had a fantasy element to it. So the CGI was obviously shit because, you know, CGI is shit 30 minutes after it goes live in the theater.
Okay.
You ever watch Solomon Kane?
I don't know. Isn't that a wrestler?
Maybe. I don't know. But
no, okay. Sounds really familiar.
It's gritty, actiony movie where Solomon Kane is supposed to be like this reformed, not missionary, mercenary type person who like kills and robs places for wealth and his own gain and whatever, and then he gets like a message from the devil saying, if you continue down this path, or I will drag you back to hell or whatever. Or he tries to drag him back to hell because of the path that he's been on. He escapes, and then he reforms his ways and becomes like a man of the Lord. And then he tries not to be the killing type, and then it turns out that this family that he's been shacking up with on the way to America, fleeing England, turns out that they're massacred to death, except for one of the girls that's in the family, and she gets kidnapped. And he essentially vows to find her no matter the cost, and he reverts back to his old ways. And it's like, I guess that's a really good character development, but you don't see the actual character development itself. So kind of to answer your question, I guess that would be good. But it was created by the same man who created Conan the Barbarian. It was super gritty, super actiony, lots of violence, a good time for the whole family. I enjoyed it. I watched it with Daphne in front of the fireplace one late evening night in my cabin in the woods. And the CGI was absolute shit, but there was like a fantasy element to it too as well. So there was like this whole warlocks thing that was, you know, doing all of the naughty business with all of the stuff. And there was like, ow! Oh, my elbow!
Jesus Christ, you all right?
Oh, I hit the funny bone! Don't talk with your hands, Weebo. That's what they tell you. Don't talk with your hands. Okay. I'll never do that again. Owie. Sorry. Ow. Anyway, I enjoyed it. It was a good action film. Probably wouldn't watch it a second time, but it was good for like a one-off view. I would recommend it. It's on Netflix, so you can just watch it whenever you want. Immediately after that film, though, I followed it up with a Vikings Destiny or something, and that was a shitty movie in comparison. So maybe I'm just hyping it up because I remember how good it was in comparison to the low budget crap film that I watched immediately afterwards.
Oh, you know what you might really get a big fucking kick out of? What? HBO series Rome.
Yes. I would enjoy that.
It only ran 2 seasons, which is fucking tragic. But it was a really expensive film to run, like period set pieces, costumery, you know, the whole thing, right?
Obviously. You got to get all that marble in there.
Yes. It's mostly plaster, but you know what? It's just whatever. It looks like marble.
Don't subvert the realism that they're going for. Polly, how dare you?
The range of actors is out fucking standing. And because they're a bunch of Roman aristocrats and fighting political generals and stuff, they get all English people to play all the roles, you know. So just fantastic actors across the board, and they start at like what 35 40 BC with Julius Caesar, and it ends with the first season ends with the Ides of March. Spoiler: Caesar's killed, and
Polly.
And then it goes on from there. The conceit of it, if you will, of the series is that they take 2 soldiers that were actually mentioned in Julius Caesar's letters from the Gallic Wars, that he actually mentions by name, and the only ones that he mentions by name, and they're the main characters of the series, but they play the series kind of like Forrest Gump, where these 2 characters find themselves involved in all the critical moments of Roman history as it progresses. Sometimes accidentally, sometimes because they're hired as a personal bodyguard. It's not historical. It's meant to be realistic, but not historical, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
It's high drama. It's like a lot of like, especially if you liked Pride and Prejudice, and from what I'm gathering, the kind of language is like it's like social class and the kind of like bitchy back and forthing with high-end dialogue and stuff and people speaking. Everything is happening subtextually. You're gonna love Atvia, played by Polly Walker. She just does she's like one of the main characters in it, and she just does such a great job of being. She's a member of the Julii family. She's a niece to Caesar. So she knows her station in life, which is pretty goddamn high, and spends a lot of time with her machinations and political dealings to try and make things happen and not happen. I think you would really, really love that series. It's only like, 16 episodes in total, 8 per season?
Yeah, I could probably swing that. I don't think that Caesar had a niece. I thought he had a daughter.
He did, who married...
Pompey?
Yeah, Pompey.
Yeah.
It's much older man, much younger woman, but they actually loved each other supposedly, and then she died in childbirth, and he was quite broken, which caused one of the breaks of their triumvirate, if I remember correctly.
Yes, that was what happened. I watched the Netflix Rome series as well.
That's hilarious. Ray says, so Game of Rome's? Yeah.
Basically. That's okay. Fun fact. You know what? They don't ever bring up, like, talk about Game of Thrones and, you know, all that jazz, but like there are some good events in history throughout history that totally would have made for good television as well. Like maybe not like direct period, like historical or historically exact things, but there are some definite things that you could draw out for the entertainment factor of it on the Game of Thrones scale. For instance, the War of the Roses. Absolutely, you could do that. Even though Game of Thrones is technically based off of the War of the Roses. Or it was used, the War of the Roses was used to influence the plot of Game of Thrones. Because if you look at the War of the Roses, there are a lot of small parallels. Like, Stark is supposed to be, I believe, York. Lannister is supposed to be the other one. Is it? Oh God, I can't remember. It's not York. The other one is. Ollie, help me out here.
You got
You're supposed to be a nerd.
No, I'm ignorant on the War of the Roses.
You're supposed to be a nerd, boy.
Well, I have failed.
Probably another one would be the French Revolution, a really good, way to entertain the masses, especially with all the beheadings. You know how it be.
Yeah, especially if you, yeah. I would like to think they started after they had taken the king and queen's heads, because I don't know. I thought Rome was going to be boring, because it's like, what interest are you going to make of this such well-known story where the actual historical events of like Caesar being stabbed out by the senators plays a background role to the plots that everyone else is?
There's so much more. Oh, you know who had really good character development, Polly? Sorry, I just thought Caligula.
Jesus Christ, really? The Penthouse film?
No, the Emperor.
Oh, I thought you meant the movie Caligula.
Oh, the Emperor had really good character development, because he went from, I just want to serve the Emperor, or not, I just want, be good Emperor, into batshit insane.
Well, yeah. I mean, that movie Caligula was produced by whatever the guy's name is, the owner of Penthouse magazine. Ended up being borderline porn with like anal fisting and everything.
What?
Yes. Lots of nudity and orgy scenes, etc.
Family-friendly channel. Can you please go back to talking about the stabbing of Caesar?
And what was his the actor's name who was played the main character in Clockwork Orange? He also played Dr. Sorensen in Star Trek 6 or 7 Generations.
Cory Booker is the new Spartacus.
He's just one of many Spartaci.
Weebo.
That was his claim. No.
Yeah.
And talk about another googly-eyed member of Congress, huh? Jesus.
How many googly-eyed members of Congress are there, Polly? And why do you keep track?
No. Have you ever watched Cory Booker speak with the flailing hand motions and the fucking googly, buggy, fucking wild eyes he's got? That guy doesn't seem very well hinged. I'm not saying he's unhinged. I'm just saying they're not controlling his hinging flailings.
I think you're exaggerating.
I am not, in fact.
Tell me an example.
I will send you examples. I can't believe you sent me an example of a classy woman spreading her legs. I was not expecting that.
The moment I saw it, I was like, Polly! And I was scrolling through Twitter. I'm like, oh wait, that would be an example of a classy woman. I need to send this to Polly. I should show the chat so that they know.
Oh, number one nowhere, Malcolm McDowell. Thank you. That's the actor's name. Whom I met once and didn't make eye contact with me because he was staring saltily at Leonard Nimoy.
What the frickety frack? All right, hang on. I don't know why it doesn't do that. Open link. Oh, yeah. Copy link. Yes, I growled. All right, Polly, judge me.
I didn't say anything.
You were thinking it.
Well, you stay out of my mind, Weebo.
No. Classy woman spreading her legs. Do you disagree?
No. I didn't at all. I just responded with a picture of a unclassy woman spreading her legs.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I'm not showing it on the screen. I don't want to.
Well, see, it's funny you say that because that's an image of Aphrodite 9, comic book character from Image Comics, and it's like a really undeveloped character. It's kind of like an obvious ripoff of Blade Runner.
Oh yeah, you think?
Yes, very much so. But it's enough. It's enough.
You can see actual like bra. It's ripped.
Oh yeah, somebody went full cleavage titties with her. There's no question. But she's meant to be a sexy mercenary character. What do you want?
Yeah, I know. But like,
she's like a Laura Croft-esque like person.
But Laura Croft at least could keep her boobs in her shirt. I would be worried about them falling out of the bra in that instance. The one that you showed me. Right.
It's an idealized fantasy setting, Weebs.
Mm-hmm. Where
she's a futuristic. It's cyberpunk sexiness that doesn't make no sense. Happens all over the place.
I would love to have that kind of technology available to us. Can we, Elon Musk, hear my plea, all right? Can we manufacture the technology that defies the laws of gravity regarding boobage? All right? Please. Thank you. That's all I'm asking for. You know how great that would be?
If boobs weren't affected by gravity?
Yeah.
Huh.
Think about it.
But that would ruin jiggle physics, which are pretty awesome.
You think that, but consider this. The longevity of the boobs and how attractive their jiggle is directly contingent upon the gravity that is enacted upon them over time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
BTK's is hashtag hover boob. Yeah.
Lever titties. I like that one for raised chickens.
Yeah.
So would you rather have boob jiggle for a temporary moment in time, or extended boob jiggle but less-ish of it? Like less exaggerated boob jiggle.
Well, I mean, we're talking about like the awesomeness of boobs, so getting into like physics and how it actually works is kind of off topic. But I mean, they would still jiggle. You're right. I mean, they have mass in and of themselves. So if a woman does the shoulder torquey thing to make the jiggles happen, it'll still happen.
Yeah.
Because they have mass, but they won't. I'm talking about like jumping up and down jiggle physics is what I'm referencing. But I mean, they would still happen. Anyway, that's beyond the point. Yeah. I'm all for the hover boobs. Let's.
Thank you. See, this is a platform we can get behind. Weebo 2036. I had to do some quick math in my head right there.
I promise to institute hover boobs.
Yep. Vote for Weebo president for 2036. Yeah.
Okay, well, see, I got a question.
Yeah.
You get this thing about boobs float in water, right?
I'm sorry, what?
Boobs float, do they not?
No, they don't, Polly.
Boobs don't have buoyancy of any kind? Your whole body has buoyancy, and boobs don't have buoyancy?
Well, when you say float, do you mean like they surface?
What I'm talking about is that I've known some girls with some pretty big old titties. And they talk about when they go swimming, they can't wear a bikini top alone. They like wearing a one piece because that gives them some kind of support, because boobs tend to float. And when you go down, your boobs will come up and hit you in the face. And I'm like, seriously? She goes, yeah, that's why I like wearing a one piece.
It's not so much that as the two pieces have a tendency to fall off in the water, regardless of the direction you're going. So like if you do a dive, it's going to fall down. If you do a pencil dive, it's going to fall up, just because the way that water works on fabric is that way, especially if you don't have a lot of, thing keeping it in, which bras lack, unfortunately. But like, wouldn't say they float and hit you in the face. That's never been my experience.
I don't mean flotation device like in the sense that if a plane does a water landing, everyone's going to be grabbing onto the big titty girl for dear life. I mean, I'm going off of the reference of the girls with big old titties that say like, boobs float. I mean, how would the hover boobs in water work is what I'm getting at here.
I guess I've never paid that much attention to it to be able to safely assert that yes, they do float or no, they don't float, because I've never had that experience. Maybe my boobs aren't big enough, which would be a first, because I'm on the thicker end of the boobage. Maybe I'm just more muscle than they are. I don't know. I do work out a lot. Muscle doesn't float, it sinks. Maybe I have pecs and not tits.
Well, that's a good question. So like if you took like is silicone buoyant in water? What's its density relative to water? If you threw one of them silicone baggies that they use for fake tits, if you threw that in water, would it float? Would you get extra floatage out of fake tits? I'm curious.
No, I'm going to test this when I go to the pool next. Like,
these are the kind of thoughts that have kept me out of the really good schools.
This is why Harvard won't take your application.
I'm not going to lie. I stole that line from George Carlin.
I've never noticed that they floated. Okay. Because they don't sink And I don't feel like I'm less buoyant because of them, but like
I don't feel
now
like I'm
I'm
less
wondering,
buoyant.
because I don't recall.
I did. Maybe they have neutral buoyancy as much as the rest of your body. I don't know. Like I didn't think that they would cause you to drop to the bottom like a rock. But do you feel your boobs dragging you down when you're swimming, Weaves?
No, but I don't feel like they're floating me either. Guess I don't know, because I'm like relating the only floaty related thing that I've ever come into contact with is like a life jacket or a tube or whatever, and that's just something that sits on the surface of the water and doesn't like go down easily. But the boobs have no trouble submerging. Like they're constantly pushing me towards the top of the surface. God, I don't know how to answer these questions.
Well, I'm just telling you what I've been told by
I am doing
girls with the tig old biggies. So,
well, now I have to do some independent research, Polly. Thanks.
oh, let me ask you a question, Weebo.
Mm.
Where are you standing with the Starwares? Are you have you seen all the Star Wars movies?
The Starwars. So I've seen the prequel, the sequel, 2 of the new trilogy.
Okay,
Not
that's
seen
plenty.
Clone Wars.
Fair enough. No, that's a lot.
I like the sequels. The prequels I find enjoyable, despite the fact that they're such shitty movies. I don't know what it is. I can watch bad movies and still enjoy them, but not maybe as genuinely as the creators might have wanted me to.
Fair
I
enough.
sit there and make fun of them. But I did not think that the new trilogy was all that enjoyable. Any of the 2 that I have seen. And
so
then
are you going to go see the newest one? Are you on December 20th?
Because I get free movies here at college, so I'll definitely get a chance to see it for free in theaters. But I don't think it's going to be that spectacular. I got into it with Monday Matt on Twitter. Well, not got into it because it wasn't like a throwdown smackdown, like kind of fight, you know? It was more so like, I respectfully disagree with your opinion that Rey is not a Mary Sue. Because I think that she fits the definition for Mary Sue as it is currently recognized, although not a lot of people have like very solid understanding of Mary Sue contingent to what everyone else has, because like everyone has their own idea of what qualifies as a suit, right? And it's gone through some adjustments over the years. The original iteration of Mary Sue was literally just a self-insert character who the world revolved around. Because it's a fan fiction term. It's derived from fan fiction. Like it's literally from Star Trek fan fiction.
Yep.
That's the deep lore behind Mary Sue-ness. Now it's become something of I guess the current working definition that we have for a Mary Sue character is or a Gary Stu, because we have gender alternatives for the men as well. By the way, Luke is not a Gary Stu, but a Mary Sue, the working definition currently as it stands, the way that I interpret it as is a character who the universe kind of bends to accommodate, essentially, for no reason other than the plot so wills it. So what I mean by that is, oh, we need this character to suddenly be able to manifest Jedi powers with no proper training and no inspiration whatsoever. Oh, they can suddenly do that, you know? Oh,
yeah.
We need this character to suddenly have this handy doohickey thingy-mabobber and ability to wield this handy doohickey thingy-mabobber for no reason other than just because. Oh, all of a sudden she's got the handy doohickey thingy-mabobber. Interesting. And it's calling to her too. Interesting. A person with very little to no backstory or an overabundance of backstory or something, whatever. It's still borrows from the character self-insert type of thing, because I'm pretty sure the reason why they haven't given Rey an actual backstory is because they want people to be able to self-insert into the character. I'm actually slightly convinced that Harry Potter was also a Gary Stu on some level. Maybe not as much as Rey is currently, but on some level, yes, I believe that Harry Potter, because he was the self-insert character without an actual personality, but who could do all of these other things, maybe a little too well, considering he was a Gary Stu to a degree, maybe like not like fully, but he was. But Rey is most certainly a Mary Sue. And it doesn't matter what movie it is that you're going off of to describe her as, she's Mary Sue from the very get-go. Because she can be interpreted as a self-insert whom the universe bends to for the convenience of.
No, I think she is simply because it has enough of the characteristics that I tend to think of as being Mary Sue and the stuff that like annoys people about it. She's good at all the things. She can fly. She can fix electronics that she's never even seen before. She can
that's kind of
instantly use force powers when she has no idea how to do it or what it is, and just and
it's all
everybody instantly likes her and wants to support her. Why? To me, one of the most tragic moments in The Force Awakens is when she walks off the Millennium Falcon and she walks up and her and Leia hug. Aren't you two strangers?
Basically.
Like, why are you? How do you two even know each other? And like, if you do, the film was an editing fail because you didn't show how.
Exactly. You need to be able to show and support with evidence why this is a thing that is happening. Because it can't just happen because you will it to.
Hopefully they explain it in Rise of Skywalker. There's, they're famously going to be using old footage that they filmed and apparently didn't use. And it's like, okay, well, hopefully they'll explain how the fuck Leia and Rey even know each other.
That's another thing, right? Why didn't they kill off Leia in the original? Like, they had a perfect setup for that in the last movie to just kill her off, because wasn't she dead before they released it? They could have just cut that last one's, like, just, no. That would have been easy fix.
It'd be like, well, who would Rey be talking to at the end of the movie?
She doesn't need to talk to anybody, does she?
Well, she's saying, like, what are we going to do from here? And then Leia says, everything we need is right here. Meaning moving on without all of this stupid crap from the past. I mean, it's a theme throughout The Last Jedi where it's like, kill the past, kill it. Like, Jesus Christ, you actually needed to say that in the film as dialogue? Like, you want to get rid of the old lore that badly?
That's another thing too, right? So weren't they complaining recently about the fact that they didn't have any canon material to work off of?
What's her name said that in an interview, yeah, and that was mind blowing. It's like, it's not like we have comic books and books to work off of, and she's taking a direct fucking stab at comic book movies, specifically the MCU. Saying, "Oh, you've got all this stuff to work off of." You have to be fucking kidding me.
The entire Star Wars expanded universe exists beyond the Skywalker storyline. Like, here is everything that we have in big Hollywood films for Star Wars. Here is the rest of everything that we could possibly use, and you're just gonna crap all over that shit because fuck that.
Yeah. You get an idea of, like, when people talk about executive interference in a film, you get the idea that Kathleen Kennedy becomes like the perfect embodiment of that idea. The executive who doesn't really know what they're doing in terms of, like, the movie, doesn't really care about it. It's just like, I know how to put out movies. I know movie making, and it expects it to be great because
about properties that you own.
Yeah, hey, it says Star Wars on it. They'll show up and watch it. Drooling morons that they are.
The thing is that they will, Polly.
Yeah, to a degree they will.
Like, Pokemon had a whole bunch of controversy when they just released that most recent game, and it's doing just fine in sales. So people do buy this crap. People do cop to the big man who doesn't give a fuck. Unfortunately. Yeah. Because the majority of everybody is, a casual enjoyer of entertainment. They're not connoisseurs.
Yeah.
It'd be like that.
All right, so we're way over time. Why do you say we close down cocktail 2.5 hour?
2 and 2 hours and 45 minutes, Polly.
Fuck, I stand corrected.
Just because you show up late doesn't mean that those first 15 minutes don't count.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
All right. Yes, you're right. We should probably close down this half of the establishment. You can carry on with Norbar if you feel so inclined later on this evening. But I have to finish off my thesis before I send it off. Oh, and before I do that, because someone had to get it right in there. Thank you to Night Sun for the $2 over on the super chats. Kill of is not needed. General Tarkin died in 1994. Kill off is not. And that's probably what you meant. If you meant something else, tell me in chat before I close down this establishment, and I will correct the record. Anyway, so thank you guys for showing up. Thank you, Polly, for also showing up, even though you were totally late. Thank you to those who donated, and thank you all for, sticking it out, enjoying the conversation, and having a great time drinking with us as well. For those of you who popped open a bottle of something or other. Polly, did you enjoy yourself?
I did.
That's good. That's good. Polly, do you have anything you want to shill?
Oh, just my channel. It's in the description. Go over there and check it out. We do fun things over there. Yay.
Yeah. Yes. And I will have a Thanksgiving video out this week. Hopefully on Thanksgiving. If not, probably later. Because I do have to travel and do a whole bunch of other nonsense. But my aim is to have it out. I promise. I will have it out this week, at the very least. And again, thank you, everyone. And hope y'all had a great evening. I will see you on the next one. Bye.
Laters all.